A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all-old-time radio.
Kroger Tenderay Beef. No other beef so fresh can be so tender. Presents Hearts in Harmony, transcribed. What a beautiful sight this is. A sizzling Kroger Tenderay steak broiled to a luscious brown. Imagine cutting into that rich red meat. Think of the wonderful flavor of Kroger Tenderay beef. Buttery tender and deliciously fresh. Yes, sirree, it's the famous beef that's always fresh, always tender, because it's tendered by the original Kroger Tenderay method. You know it's tender because by the Kroger Tenderay method, the top U.S. government grades of beef are made naturally tender without aging. You know it's always fresh because by the Kroger Tenderay method, there's no need for wasteful aging, no time for loss of savory juice. No other beef so fresh can be so tender. Yet Kroger Tenderay beef costs no more than ordinary beef. And Kroger guarantees it's the best eating beef you've ever served or your money back. So soon as you can, visit your Kroger store and buy a tender roast or a big, juicy Kroger Tenderay steak. And remember, when it's Kroger Tenderay beef, you know that you're treating your family to the finest beef value in town. Get fresh and tender Kroger Tenderay beef soon at your Kroger store. And now, Hearts in Harmony. Chief topic of conversation in the Gibbs home the last few days is the coming return of Penny's brother, Pat, and speculation as to whether or not he's found his missing wife and is bringing her home with him. Much as she wonders about the matter, Penny is forced to think about other things, too, especially the community center. And it's about the center that she's most willing to talk this afternoon as the doorbell rings.
Hello, Penny.
Angela, Brill, come in. Why didn't you tell me you were coming to see me today?
I didn't know it myself until a few hours ago. And I had to rush to get the Rossville train.
Oh, it's good to see you.
We have only one afternoon out of Heatherton, you know.
Yes, I know. Oh, golly, it's so good to see you. It's been such a long time.
Yes, it has, hasn't it?
Uh-huh.
And I've been awfully busy at the hospital. We're short of nurses again.
I'm sorry to hear that. You're looking well. Hard work must agree with you.
It does. And it must agree with you, too. You look the best I've ever seen you. I know you've been working hard.
A couple of slaves.
And change.
Here, let me help you with your coat.
Oh, thanks.
There you go.
How's the family, huh?
Oh, they're all well and happy. Extremely happy.
I'm glad to hear that. I thought it was awful about the fire in the Lang home, though.
Yeah. It was worse for Freddie and Nora than anyone else, of course.
But you had the closest escape of all, I understand.
Dr. Evans has been exaggerating again, hasn't he?
He told me Freddie had to pull you out of the house and that you were unconscious.
Well, I am alive today, thanks to Freddie. Oh, thinking about the fire still gives me the shivers, so let's not talk about it.
No, let's not. It gives me the shivers, too. I suppose you know why I came up to see you today.
I think so. You probably heard the community center's going to open next week.
I read about it.
Was it in the Heatherton paper, too?
Front page in the Heatherton Weekly Heather.
Mm-hmm.
Said some nice things about you, too. You're famous, Miss Gibbs.
Oh, Miss Gibbs. You're beginning to sound like the nurse who took such good but stern care of me in the Heatherton hospital.
That seems a long time ago, doesn't it?
Oh, it is a long time ago, Angela. I'm glad it finally does seem as long ago as it really is. You know, I think I've forgotten most of the pain. And I don't mean only the pain caused by the injuries.
I know very well what you mean. I told you someday you'd forget. But you wouldn't believe me.
How could I believe you then?
I realize now you couldn't, but, well, I'm glad you finally have.
Well, I haven't forgotten altogether.
I don't imagine you will altogether, Penny, but you've managed to forget enough so that you're once again leading a normal life.
Well, I don't know how really normal it is right now, Angela. I've never been so busy in my life. When I'm not busy with the community center, I'm having my troubles here at home.
Not serious troubles, then?
Oh, no, not serious, but puzzling. My brother Pat is coming
Your
up.
brother? I didn't know you had a brother.
Like the rest of my family, or I should say so-called family, Angela. Pat isn't really my brother. He's not really related to me. But he is really Mother's son.
Oh, I see. Well, he never came to the hospital after your accident, did he? Or did I always miss seeing him?
No, he was never there. You see, his wife ran away, and he's, been following her around the country for about, a year or so.
Oh.
Now he's coming home, but we don't know whether it's with his wife or without her. All we know is that he's coming back with a surprise.
Penny, you don't suppose it's a new wife, do you?
Well, Angela Brill, I never thought about that. Oh, I don't see how it could be. If Pat were coming home with a new wife, it'd mean that Suzanne... Oh, Angela, I don't want to think about it.
Well, I hope it's not true. It was just a thought.
Yeah, something we hadn't thought of. I hope my mother doesn't. Pat didn't have too much luck with his wife, you know. I don't know how Mother would take his marrying again. But, let's forget about that. That isn't what you came to talk about, is it?
No. I came to talk about the community center. I've already told my supervisor at the hospital that I'll be leaving soon.
Well, are you sure you want to leave the hospital? I mean, especially with the shortage of nurses?
The hospital has made provisions for my leaving, Penny, and there'll be another nurse to take my place. She'll be available the day I leave. A private nurse who's anxious to get back into hospital work.
Well, if you're sure you want to devote your full time to the community center, it's wonderful.
I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun.
I think it is, too. And I'm looking forward to it. In fact, I find myself looking ahead to a lot of exciting things these days.
Such as what?
Oh, such as... I don't quite know how to explain it. Anyway, I think I've grown up a lot in the last few months, Angela. I finally found how to keep from looking back, how to put aside unhappy memories, to enjoy the present, think kindly of the future.
Penny, you sound as if you've even mended your heart a little.
I think my heart's been mended for me. Been mended against my silly, schoolgirlish objections.
I won't be presuming too much if I say I could guess by whom, will I?
No, you won't. You don't blame me for being interested in him, do you, Angela?
I should say not. I could be interested in him myself.
Don't you dare give Joe one come-hither glance or I'll scratch your eyes out.
Don't worry. After that fair warning, I'll leave him strictly to you.
Actually, you know, it isn't quite that serious, really, with me. At least not yet. He is attractive, Angela. And every day I find myself liking him just a little bit more.
How many days of increased liking does it take you to be in love, Penny?
I don't know, Angela. I'll never be in love again the way I was with Barry. That was apart from the way I'm capable of feeling about any other man. But I do think someday I'll feel enough love for Joel to want to marry him.
He's the kind of man any girl would want to marry.
I know. Well, are you sure you have to go back to the hospital tonight?
Oh, yes, I do, definitely.
All right, then we better talk about the plans for the center. Your plans especially. Now, the way things stand, the center will officially open late next week. Maybe Friday or Saturday.
Hello, Dr. Evans.
Well, Nurse Brill, hello.
I thought you might like to know I saw Penny Gibbs this afternoon.
Oh, you were in Rossville this afternoon. I wondered why Nurse Atkins was on the 8th floor. How's Penny?
Fine. The community center opens next week, you know.
Yes.
So I guess I'll be leaving you then.
Yes, I heard you were leaving soon. I'm going to miss you, Angela. The 8th floor won't seem the same without you.
Well, it's going to seem strange being away from the hospital, but I'm going to like working with Penny. I love being around young people.
They'll give you a bad time as often as they give you an easy one, Angela. Oh, I don't envy you your new job. That is, with the exception of its inclusion of Penny Gibbs.
If we can forget for a few minutes that I'm a nurse and you're a doctor, I'd like to talk to you about Penny for a minute or two.
Well, that's easy for me to forget, Angela. Here, let's go in Dr. Weston's office. I believe it's empty.
All right.
Now, what is it, Angela? Bad news or good?
I don't usually bring bad news with a smile on my face, do I, Doctor?
Well, you are smiling at that. And there's a twinkle in your eye.
Dr. Evans, if your ears weren't burning this afternoon, they should have been. Penny and I had a long talk about you.
Angela, if you didn't put in a good word for me, you're not going to be a nurse in this hospital. No, ma'am. But a patient, and on the critical list, too.
I didn't have to, Doctor. Penny did most of the talking herself, and it was all good.
Well, do you mean that at last I've made a good impression?
On her heart as well as on her mind, Doctor. That was your intention, wasn't it?
My intention? Oh, it was a hope beyond my wildest dreams. Tell me, Angela, what did she say?
Well, it wasn't so much what she said as what she implied, but I can tell you in all honesty, she loves you right now a great deal more than she knows.
Do you mean that?
I wouldn't say it if I didn't mean it.
Oh, Angela, I love you. You're the most beautiful, the most adorable. Angela, I could kiss you.
Thanks, Doctor, but save all that for Penny. I'm just telling you what she'll probably tell you herself someday.
Angela, you've made me the happiest doctor in the world, the happiest man. And from now on, I'm going to be the busiest. Oh, I've got to do something about this, and soon. Why, this is what I've been waiting for. But I didn't think it had happened so soon.
Peg, you don't have to help me with the dishes. I can do them myself.
Oh, I want to help, though. I haven't done anything helpful around here all day.
You did a lot around here today. You got that job with Frank Carter.
Oh, I'm awfully thrilled about it, too. Is he as nice to work for as he seems to be?
Yes, he's wonderful.
Well, good, bad, or indifferent, I'm going to stick to this job. Oh, I finally wrote Don Hodges and said I absolutely would not bring Julie to Hollywood. I've got to make it up to Julie somewhere.
Well, I think you did the right thing. Julie's happy here. Rossville's a wonderful town for children. Wonderful place to grow up.
I'm going to enjoy every...
Oh, there's the doorbell. Go see who it is, Peg, will you?
Oh, sure.
Probably Freddie. He's always forgetting his key.
But it might be Julie. She went next door to little Harriet's house. I don't think she had a key with her.
Oh, then that's probably who it is. It's getting kind of late. Oh, now, where's that pot? There you go. Mrs. Job, this is.
Penny?
Yeah?
Penny, it's a telegram for your mother.
For my mother. Well, she isn't here, Peg.
But you know who it's from, don't you? I'm sure I do. It's from your brother, Pat.
Yes, I would think it is. It couldn't be from anyone else. Wait till I dry my hands. No, look, you open it and read it to me, will you?
All right. Oh, I'm just as excited as you are.
Peg, open it. Go on. What does it say? Well, read it.
All right. Penny?
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the things you've been wanting to know.
Well, Peg, what? Come on, please tell me.
Well, he says he'll be in Rossville tomorrow afternoon.
So Pat will be home again tomorrow. Why hasn't he said anything more about his wife, Suzanne? Is she coming home with him, or isn't she? And what is Joel going to do now that he knows Penny is falling in love with him? Be sure to listen to the next dramatic episode of Hearts in Harmony. Ladies, want to hear your family say, "This steak is wonderful." Then serve a Kroger Tender Ray steak. No other beef so fresh can be so tender. You know it's tender because by the original Kroger Tender Ray method, the top U.S. government grades of beef are made naturally tender without aging. You know it's always fresh because by the Kroger Tender Ray method, there's no need for wasteful aging, no time for loss of savory juice. And when you buy Kroger Tender Ray beef, notice that the Kroger method of cutting beef gives you more meat, less waste. Here's why. Before the meat is weighed and priced, the Kroger method of cutting beef removes excess bone, excess waste, and stringy ends. Remember, when it's Kroger Tender Ray beef, you know it's the finest beef value in town. Ladies, please remember also that Kroger Tender Ray, the beef that's always fresh, always tender, is an exclusive Kroger value, available only at your neighborhood Kroger store. And don't forget this. The Kroger cut gives you more meat, less waste. That means you get more meat for your money in fresh and tender Kroger Tender Ray beef. Visit your neighborhood Kroger store soon. Get the finest beef value in town. Kroger Tender Ray beef. Be sure to join us again tomorrow. Same time, same station, for the next thrilling transcribed chapter of Hearts in Harmony.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to forgery detail. For the past several months, a man posing as an actor has been passing worthless checks in your city. You've got a description of the suspect, but no lead to his whereabouts. Your job, get him.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, January 10th. It was foggy in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of Forgery Division. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Welch. My name's Friday. I was on my way back to the office from a cup of coffee. It was 4:12 p.m. when I got to Forgery. The squad
I told her to report it herself. Told her it was her duty as a citizen. It is a duty, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am. Hi, Joe.
Hi.
Mrs. Neskett, this is my partner, Sergeant Friday.
Mrs. Neskett?
No, Sergeant.
Seems Mrs. Neskett's mother got stuck with a bum check, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
She's a landlady out on Western.
Well, not a landlady, exactly. Only rents a couple of rooms. More for company than anything. Dad left her plenty to get by on.
Yes, ma'am.
And we'd help her out if it was necessary. Dick and me. Dick's my husband. We help her out.
Mm-hmm.
So far, she's managed pretty well by herself. But if she pulls any more fool stunts like this... Tony has a $3 bill. See right there? No such account. Big as life. Stamped all over it.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't understand her. I just don't understand it at all.
Well, anybody can take a bad check, Mrs. Neskett, no matter how careful they are. Even with good identification, you can be fooled.
When they do, they report it, don't they?
Well, yes, ma'am, usually.
Look at the date. Way last December, over a month ago.
Yeah.
Over a month ago, and she hasn't done a thing about it. Didn't intend to either. Didn't even want me to know. Good thing I started early this year.
Early, ma'am?
On her income tax. How I found out about the check.
Oh.
I used to work in a tax office, so I always make out Mother's return. If I didn't do it, I don't know who could. Doesn't keep any records. Just stubs and a few bills. Well, someday they'll audit her and she'll find out.
Well, why didn't your mother report this check herself, you know?
You tell me. The man had an honest face. That's about all I can get out of her.
How'd she happen to take it?
It was supposed to be for his first month's rent.
Well, if she's not out any cash.
Sure she's out cash. $20. That's what she's out. He made the check for $70. A month's rent's only $50. Not a lot of money, but $20 is $20.
Yes, ma'am.
There's the principal, too.
Yeah.
An actor or something like that.
Ma'am?
The fellow gave it to her. Mother says she remembered his name from the movies. That's how she happened to take the check. I don't see why she'd trust an actor any more than she would somebody else.
Can I see that, please?
Mm-hmm.
Parker Allington. You ever hear of him, Joe?
Allington?
Uh-huh.
I think it sounds familiar. There was some pictures when I was a kid, I believe.
Oh?
As I remember, I never cared much for him, though. If it's the same guy, the parts he played.
What do you mean?
Heavies. We ran the name Parker Allington through R&I, and we turned up one package listing a drunk arrest in 1935. We called the Screen Actors Guild to see if they could help locate him. They said they'd check, and they asked us to call back in an hour. 4:30 p.m. We left the office and drove out to the Western Avenue address Mrs. Neskett had given us. It was a 2-story Spanish stucco with a rooms for rent sign in the front window.
Somebody's coming.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Miss Crimp?
Yes.
We're police officers. This is Frank Smith. My name's Friday.
Police officer?
That's right, ma'am.
Anita.
Beg pardon?
My daughter, Anita. She sent you.
Yes, ma'am.
I told her not to. She never does anything I tell her. Never has.
Be all right if we come in?
Living room's a mess.
Don't worry about it, ma'am.
I was just putting away the ornaments from the tree. It was raining last week when I took it down, and I couldn't get out to the garage.
Yes, ma'am.
I won't press any charges.
Well, that's up to you.
Not against that poor man, I won't. And you can't force me to press charges.
No, ma'am.
Suppose you tell us about the check.
Isn't much to tell.
Your daughter says this man Allington gave it to you for rent.
Here, and to get that box out of the way so you'll have some place to sit.
I'll take care of it, ma'am. All right, I'll put it here.
Oh, yes, fine, thanks.
The check was for rent, is that right?
That's right.
When'd you take it?
Last month sometime. A week or so before Christmas. The date's on it, isn't it?
December 9th.
Oh, that's what it says.
Have you ever seen Allington before? You ever met up with him?
Not in person. I may have seen him in pictures. He said he'd been in a lot of pictures. He seems familiar.
Well, now, ma'am, how'd he happen to come here to rent a room?
We saw the sign out in front of the window. He was living in a hotel downtown and was out this way visiting friends.
Did he mention the name of the hotel?
No, I don't think so.
What about the people he was visiting?
Well, what about them?
Well, did he tell you who they were?
Well, he may have. I couldn't say for sure. Not now.
Now, you said he saw the sign.
In the window.
Yes, ma'am.
He came in and asked about the room, but was still for rent. I showed it to him. Upstairs in front. It was a real nice view.
He agreed to take it, did he?
Straight off. Said he used to live in a house something like this when he first came to California years ago when his wife was alive. Sort of reminded him of better times. That's how he put it.
And he gave you this check for the first month's rent?
Yes. I suppose Nita already told you. He made it out for $20 extra.
Why was that?
Well, he needed some cash money to hire a cab and move his things out here.
And you gave him the cash,
$20. I couldn't turn him down.
Why not?
Well, he just seemed honest, that's all. You can tell when a person's honest.
Yeah, sometimes.
And he was so anxious to get the room. He wanted to be all moved in time for the holidays. He wanted to be with people, I suppose. Oh, I felt sorry for him.
Did you ask for any identification?
Oh, no, there wasn't any reason. I recognized his name. Besides, he was going to be living here. If there wasn't anything wrong with his check, he'd be around to make it right.
And you never heard from him again?
Now, that doesn't mean he was trying to cheat me.
Well, it looks that way, ma'am.
Now, you folks are policemen. It's your job to suspect people of being crooked, and I don't blame you. It's your job.
Yes, ma'am.
$20?
Ma'am?
$20. Is that reason to throw a man like Mr. Allington in jail?
Well, it might be more than $20.
Well, that's all I gave him. Don't you believe me?
Yes, ma'am. But this man has passed quite a few checks.
Well, I told you before. I won't press charges.
Yes, ma'am, you told us.
You don't understand. He didn't mean any harm.
You sure about that, Miss Crimp?
I'm a pretty good judge of human nature. I ought to be by now.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, he's had lots of troubles, Mr. Allington.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of troubles. An actor like him probably pulled down a fancy salary and never had any worries. Now it's all gone. All his money, his wife, everything. If he'd never been rich, it wouldn't be so hard. You don't miss something you've never had.
Yeah.
If you're finished with me, I'd like to get on with my housework.
Mind if we use your phone?
Well, it's in the hall. I'll show you.
That's all right. I'll find it. Thank you.
You know, I didn't mean any offense, Mrs. Stern.
Oh, I suppose it's just your job. There's some cookies there. Where you doing?
I'd like to, but no.
They're homemade.
That's very good, aren't they?
Well, go on.
Miss Breckhart, please. I'll wait if you don't mind. Thank you. Hello, Miss Breckhart. This is Sergeant Friday. I spoke to you a little while ago about Parker Allington. Yeah, that's right. You asked me to call back. Uh-huh. When was that? Oh, I see. Yes, it certainly does. You bet. Thank you very much. Right. Goodbye.
I remember this kind when I was a kid. My mom used to make it for Christmas.
Oh, well, maybe you'd like to take a few home with you. I've got plenty extra.
Oh, thanks anyway. They wouldn't let me inside the front door if I showed up with an armload of cookies. You ready, Joe?
Yeah. We'd like you to come with us, Miss Crimp.
Well, what on earth for?
I want to see if you can identify the man who gave you that check.
You've already arrested him?
No, ma'am.
Well, I don't understand.
Well, we want to show you some mug shots, some photographs.
You want me to pick out Mr. Allington's pictures?
If you can.
Now, that's silly. You don't need me for that. The studios must have pictures of him, the newspapers. Why, that's downright silly.
It wasn't Allington, ma'am.
What?
The fellow who passed that check.
What'd you find out?
Allington died 3 years ago. Miss Breckhart at the Screen Actors Guild had checked with the Motion Picture Relief Home. They reported that Allington had lived there from 1949 until a heart attack caused his death several years later. We managed to convince Mrs. Crimp that she'd been taken by a professional swindler. Down at City Hall, we showed her mug shots of known bad check artists.
No, that's not him.
Oh, how about this one?
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure not. No, that's not him either. He's older.
Well, the picture might be out of date.
Even so.
Well, that's it.
Well, Miss Crimp.
Yes?
Could you describe him for us?
Well, he was medium-sized, a little taller than you are, maybe.
Yeah.
How old would you say he was?
Oh, about in his 60s.
Gray hair?
That's right.
Any marks or scars?
No, not that I noticed.
How about his eyes?
Beg pardon?
What color were his eyes?
Well, I couldn't say. was only there for a few minutes.
Yes, ma'am, I understand.
He just seemed like an average man. For his age, gentleman, nice-looking, sort of distinguished.
Anything else about it?
No, except for his expression.
What do you mean?
It was kind of sad, unhappy, like he'd been through a lot. Guess that won't help you, though.
It might.
Is that all?
Yes, ma'am. We'll take you home now.
Officer.
Yes, ma'am.
Would you mind doing me a favor? I'd appreciate it.
What is it, Miss Crimp?
Don't tell my daughter about all this. I mean that it wasn't Mr. Allington, that I let somebody trick me. She'd say it proves that I'm not able to take care of myself. I'd never hear the end of it. She treats me like a child, as it is. Now, you don't have to tell her, do you?
No, ma'am.
I'd sure appreciate it. Not that she doesn't have my best interests at heart, but nobody likes to be criticized all the time, especially by their own flesh and blood. You got any children, Sergeant?
No, ma'am.
Well, then you don't understand how I feel.
Yes, ma'am. Maybe I do.
You couldn't.
We drove Miss Crimp to her home, and then we checked out for the night. By the end of the week, 2 more landladies in the Western Avenue area had reported receiving bad checks from a man who claimed to be Parker Allington. Their stories tallied almost word for word with what Miss Crimp had told us. January 13th, 4:45 p.m. Frank and I checked back into the office after an interview with one of the victims.
You'd think that guy would wise up. Can't go on using a dead actor's name forever. Somebody's going to catch on.
Well, they haven't so far.
Well, sooner or later.
Thought you were on a diet.
Huh?
I thought you were on a diet.
Well, Joe, I got to keep up with strength.
Yeah.
Person needs a certain amount of sugar. You know?
Mm-hmm.
It's not so high on calories. Read an article the other day. Teaspoonful of sugar, only 35 calories.
Have you lost any weight yet?
No, I'm holding my own.
You haven't lost any, though.
No. I don't want to get thin, Joe. Just sort of watching it, that's all.
Mm-hmm. Forgery, Friday. Yes, ma'am. This is the right extension. Could you speak up a little, please? I can't hear you. Now, just a minute. All right, go ahead, please. That's 2238? Yes, ma'am, I have it. Yes, ma'am, right away. Well, looks like you had it figured.
How come?
Somebody did catch on. Woman over near Los Feliz Boulevard.
Yeah?
Fellow's trying to give her a phony check.
Trying?
Yeah, he's still there. Frank and I drove out to a side street just south of Los Feliz Boulevard. It took us 20 minutes to get to the house. When we pulled up in front of the place, a lady was standing on the porch. She spotted our car and walked down the steps.
You the policeman?
Yes, ma'am. My name's Friday. This is Frank Smith.
Hello, how are
How you
you?
doing, ma'am?
You certainly didn't hurry.
Well, the traffic's kind of heavy this time of day.
Well, why didn't you use your siren?
We didn't want to scare him off.
Well, it's too late for that. He left about 10, 15 minutes ago. Oh, I'm Daisy Williker. Suppose you need that name for your record.
Yes, Mrs. Wilkers.
Not Mrs.
Oh.
You see which way you went?
He took a bus on the corner, probably in Hollywood by now.
Well, why'd he leave in such a rush, do you know?
Got suspicious. Might have heard my phone call. I had to talk so loud to make you understand me. I tried to keep him here as long as I could. I did my best. You can't ask more than that.
No, ma'am, thanks.
Well, you might as well come inside. Suppose you want a full report. That's the regular procedure, isn't it?
Are you familiar with police procedure, are you?
Watched on television, go to the movies. They got it all down pat.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, he came up to my door. Oh, must have been an hour ago by now. At least an hour.
Yes, ma'am.
Asked if I had a room for rent. I told him that's what the sign said. He just laughed, like he thought I'd been making a joke. Didn't know I was serious.
You show him the room?
Well, I tried to. He hardly even glanced at it. Then he said this was exactly what he'd been looking for. That's when I first began wondering about him.
What else did he say?
That he used to live in a house like this when he was a little boy back east, and that it reminded him of home. I figured he was softening me up to get me to lower the rent. Well, two can play at that game.
Yes, ma'am. What did you do?
Well, I upped it $10. Room's not worth a cent over $45. I asked $55.
Mm-hmm.
That way I'd be able to come down when he started playing on my sympathies. Wouldn't be out anything either.
Yeah.
Didn't bat an eye. When I told him it was $55. Said he'd take it, just like that. I knew right away something was wrong.
What happened then?
Well, we came downstairs into the living room here.
Go ahead, please.
Well, I said I wanted the first month's rent in advance. A lot of them try to pay you by the week. Before you can turn around, they're behind. Takes forever to get rid of them once they're moved in. I always insist on a full month.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, didn't bat an eye at that either. Brought out a checkbook.
Now, did he ask if he could make it for a little extra?
How'd you know?
Well, he's been around before.
25 extra. That's what he wanted. If he'd been around so long, why haven't you picked him up?
Well, we're trying, ma'am.
A few minutes earlier this afternoon, he'd solved the whole case.
Well, we're just as anxious to solve it as you are, Miss Wilkers.
Did he say why he needed the extra cash, ma'am?
Something about cab fare to get his things out here.
That's a lot of cab fare.
That's my own words, right to his face, exactly what I said. He said he'd have to clear up his hotel bill, too. Claimed they wouldn't take a check if he was moving.
And that's when you called up.
Of course not. Didn't call you until I was sure the check was no good. Not that I would have cashed it, but there's no point in running to the police until you got the facts to back you up.
Mm-hmm. What made you so sure it was phony?
Well, the way he signed it.
What do you mean?
Parker Allington.
You knew he wasn't Allington.
Well, how could he be? Allington's dead. You didn't know he was dead?
Yes, ma'am, we knew it.
Well, then.
Miss Wilkers, are you connected with show business?
I follow it, that's all. Oh, I don't spend all my time reading movie magazines or anything like that. But I keep up with what's going on in the field. Do you know Allington was on television last night?
What's that?
The Late Show. Picture must have been at least 20 years old. He played the villain. Did a good job considering it was 20 years ago. Gives you a funny feeling, though, watching somebody who isn't here anymore.
Yes, ma'am. Now, as soon as you saw the name Allington on the check, you realized the guy was a phony and called us. Is that right?
Well, approximately.
Approximately.
Well, I told him I didn't know if I had the cash in the house. Said I'd have to go upstairs and make sure. I got an extension phone up there.
I see.
Then I telephoned you.
Uh-huh. One more thing, Miss Walters.
Well?
We've got a description, but it's rather vague.
Description?
Yes, that this guy's been passing himself off as Allington.
Oh.
All we know is his medium-sized, gray hair, and fairly well dressed.
Well, that's about right.
It's not very specific.
Can you add anything?
You mean you want to know who he is?
That's right.
Wilbur French.
Who's that?
Used to play bit parts in pictures.
Yeah.
I recognized him the minute he came through the door.
Miss Wilkers insisted her identification of the check forger was correct. We drove back to the office, checked the name Wilbur French through R&I. We had nothing on him. I telephoned Miss Breckhart at the SAG. She reported that French was a member in bad standing, 2 years delinquent in his dues. She had no address listed for him, but she was able to tell us that the last company he had worked for was a small TV outfit on Santa Monica Boulevard. She also told us that his file showed that he was last represented by a Paul Pilcher, an agent with offices on Sunset. January 14th, 9:35 a.m. I dropped Frank off at the Santa Monica TV company, and I drove on out to interview Pilcher.
Yes, sir. What can I do for you?
I'd like to see Mr. Pilcher.
Are you a client?
Police officer. My name's Friday.
Oh,
Mr. Pilcher in?
not yet.
You expecting him?
Well, I don't know when exactly. Sometimes he plays tennis on Saturday mornings before he comes to the office.
I see.
But he'll be in. He's closing a deal with TRC.
Oh,
That's a studio, a new company just getting started.
I see.
Would you like to look at the trades while you're waiting? Yesterday's. They don't come out on Saturday.
Well, thank you very much.
Mr. Pilcher in some kind of trouble?
Not as far as I know, no.
That's a relief. Mr. Pilcher's office. I'm sorry he hasn't come in yet. Any minute. Would you like me to have him call you? I see. Well, if you'll try again in about 15 minutes, you ought to be here. Bye. Morning, Mr. Pilcher.
Good morning.
This gentleman's waiting to see you. And Mr. Brogan's office called. They'll call back. Mr. Brogan's getting shaved.
Yeah, all right. I'm a police officer. My name's Friday.
Police?
That's right.
What can I do for you?
I'd like to talk to you for a minute.
All right, come on inside. Sit down.
Thank you.
Want a cigarette?
Yeah, thank you.
Here's the lighter.
Never mind, I have a match here.
Well?
You handle an actor named Wilbur French, Mr. Pilcher.
French?
That's right.
No, I don't handle him.
You used to be his agent, didn't you?
Oh, a couple of years ago, not anymore.
Oh.
What's he done?
Could you tell me where I could find him?
I wouldn't have any idea. Don't think he's had much work lately. At least I haven't heard about him working.
What was his last address?
Now, you come to the wrong man.
Well, the last address that you have for him.
I don't keep addresses of actors after they leave me.
Well, why did he leave you?
Usual reason, no work. Pretty bad as an actor. Excuse me, huh? Yes? I'll put him on. Hello, George. How are you? Glad to hear it. And Mabel? Oh, that's a shame. Seems to be a lot of it going around this time of year. Well, what about Harvey? You make up your mind? Uh-huh. I sure don't agree with you there, George. He didn't look too old to test. So he's been in the business a few years. You can't hold that against him. What do you mean a new face? You'll bring out somebody from New York who's been on television 100 times. There won't be anything new about his face. Look, I'm not trying to tell you your business. I'm just trying to set a good actor in the right part. I'll be through soon, Mr. Friday.
Yeah.
That's more like it, George. Now, how many weeks' work? No, George, I've read the script. Davis can't shoot that many scenes in 2 weeks. $1,200 a week, 4-week guarantee. Fletcher paid him $1,200 last fall. Go ahead and check. Look, George, if I was a Beverly Hills agent, you know what Harvey cost you? Well, I'm not going to argue with about it. You call Fletcher. He'll tell you what he paid Harvey. I'll be here till noon if you want to make a deal. Bye. Sorry to be so long.
Sure. Any suggestions on how I might get in touch with French?
Screen Actors Guild.
Well, they sent me here.
Oh. Well, what's he done?
We'd rather talk to him.
Well, the last time I saw him, he touched me for $10.
Where was that?
I bumped into him on the street. Is it serious?
It's just a routine investigation. Thanks very much, Miss Pilcher.
Wait a minute.
Yes, sir?
I suppose I could turn him up. Be a dirty trick, though.
I don't know why.
Maybe it's my fault that he's in trouble. I didn't get him enough work. Now I hand him over to you. Makes me a heel, doesn't it?
And you might be doing him a favor.
Well, he won't think so.
You said you didn't know where he lived.
Well, I don't.
Well, how will you find out?
Spread the word around that I got a job for him. He'll hear about it.
I see.
He'll turn up.
All right, sir.
Leave your number. When I hear from French, I'll get in touch with you.
Thank you.
I still feel like a heel.
Well, you shouldn't. You called the turn on him.
Hmm?
He's a bad actor. I left Pilcher's office and picked up Frank. The TV company had given him a still photo from the last production in which French had appeared. 2 of the check victims readily identified the man in the picture. The 3rd victim was also certain it was the same person who had posed as Allington. January 16th, 3:32 p.m. Paul Pilcher telephoned the office. He told us French was living at a hotel in Hollywood on Selma Avenue. When we got there, the desk clerk said French was in his room, 17B.
This is it.
Yeah.
Who is it?
I'd like to talk to you, French.
Just a minute.
Yeah?
We're police officers.
Like to ask some questions.
Downtown.
What is this, a gag?
No, it's no gag.
Well, anybody can get hold of a badge. Who sent you? Mike? Sammy?
Come on, let's go, French.
Knock it off. I've been in too many pictures. I can tell actors from cops.
You ever hear of Parker Allington?
Yeah, I've heard of him. Worked with him in pictures. Used to be friends.
I'd give you the right to sign his name.
On bad checks?
Now, look, boys, I know why they sent you. I told Mike I got a call this morning about a job. It'd be just like him to pick a time like this. Some practical joker, isn't it?
No, it won't work, French.
What?
Come on, you know who we are and why we're here. Let's go.
It's one of Mike's gags.
Yeah, well, 3 landladies say different.
Oh.
You want to get Coke?
It was only a few bucks.
It was enough.
How'd you tumble?
One of the landladies knew Allington was dead.
I never figured he was that famous.
She knew you, too.
Me?
That's right.
Couldn't have known I was living here. Who told you?
Come on, let's go.
Pilcher. That's why I wanted to get in touch with me. I should have figured it wasn't about a job. Pilcher, wasn't it?
Come on.
Some agent. Couldn't land a job if your life depended on it. 5 years. Over 5 years I was signed with him. Never had a decent booking. Nothing that lasted. A couple of days here and there. Nothing that lasted.
Oh, don't you worry about it.
Huh?
This one will.
Wilbur Carl Flicker, also known as Wilbur French, was found guilty on 3 felony warrants charging forgery. He was sentenced to the state prison as prescribed by Section 470 of the California Penal Code for a period of 1 to 14 years.
Dragnet is a presentation of the United States Armed Forces Radio Service. the Jack Webb Show. Oh, yes. Time. 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 Oh, my darling. Have you ever stopped to think what Wednesday night at 9:30 means? Oh, my darling. Wednesday night at 9:30 means Wednesday night at 9:30. Ah, my darling, if we were on a windswept hill, if we could but go there, if we could but be there, alone, just you and I and that windswept hill. Just the three of us. Just you. Just I. Just that windswept hill. The three of us, that is. I could but whisper but these three immortal words in your ear, words as old as time. 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 These three words would I but whisper. The Jack Webb Show.
This week, Mayor Lapham announced that the fight was still on to raise streetcar fares, but the Jack Webb Show sinks lower and lower. Yes, the Jack Webb Show, or Lost Wednesday. That means Phil Bavaro and those 8 retards known as the Ragged Clancy Hayes, who brought music to the marina, will sing the words whether they match the music or not. Tiny Nora McNamara, pretty as a picture, will be framed by the orchestra again this week. John Galbraith, a rare Oakland importation, will prove that anyone can be a radio actor. Due to an increase in our program budget, the above people and things will be assisted in tonight's production by an all-star cast of thousands. And if you hurry, you have just time to catch the second show at your neighborhood movie.
You're tuned to Facts on Parade.
Yes, here's the program all Africa has been raving about. It's Facts on Parade. The only program devoting its entire time to bringing you the unusual, the bizarre, the little known, and that's a fact. This is the program that has everyone saying,
Why, I knew that all the time.
yes, many college students have used this program instead of their books to graduate, and that's a fact. And now here's the man who says, that's a fact. For fact-loving people everywhere, Fred Fact.
Thank you, Fred Flooper, and good evening. And that's a fact. Here's a curious item that comes to us from Fredville, Florida, sent in by Fred Fudge. And that's a fact. Fred Fudge offers this observation. If the uniforms of all the privates in the Army were laid end to end, they would most certainly reach. That's a fact.
Our next item comes from Fredtown, Scotland, submitted by Mrs. Fred Fink.
This one is very strange. She says, and I'm not quite sure this is even a fact, robbing Peter to pay Paul is not much better than robbing Paul to pay Peter. And that's a fact.
And this one wins the Fred Fact Fine Finders of Fact Award.
It is submitted by Fred Fang, who lives in Fred Valley, Minnesota.
Fred Fang makes this quaint observation. He says that on this program, we seem to show partiality to the name Fred. And that's a Fred. I mean a fact.
Ladies and gentlemen, this material has been approved by the Federal Bureau of Investigation. We wish to thank the Federal Bureau of Investigation for this material, which they assure us is material.
Is it Dick Tracy?
No.
Is it Sherlock Holmes?
No.
Is it Mr. North?
No.
Is it Mrs. North?
No.
Is it the Thin Man?
No.
The Fat Man?
No.
The Saint?
No.
The Whistler?
No.
The Frog? The Bat? The Green Hornet? The Spider? The Dog? The Cat? The Mouse?
No!
It's the Razor! He's sharp. Another conspicuous first for radio, the true adventures of the Razor. Tonight's story, another close shave for the Razor. Entitled The Case of the Confused Keyhole. The Razor is brought to you each week at this time by, well, the Razor is no cheap commercial detective. He's sustaining. Leave us look in on the Razor, sitting in his study, thinking.
3 hours and I haven't had a case. This inactivity is maddening. I'm in a rut. I might as well admit it. As a last resort, I may telephone my sweetheart, Peaches Latoul. Too late now. I have a murder on my hands. Hello, this is the Razor. Who's been murdered? No murder? Oh, you have the wrong number. What? Who? Buffano? Benny Buffano? The press club hat has been stolen? What? What? No, don't touch a thing. This looks serious. You know, Buffano, I suspect the arch enemy of the Razor, Stan Strop. I'll go to work on him right away. The press club's hat's stolen. Being held for ransom. I wonder why. Those poor reporters haven't any money. I'll bet there's a half dozen murders before I get to the bottom of this. I'm off for the press club. Peaches Latoul, what are you doing at the press club? This is gang dinner night.
What do you mean, press club? You're on the opposite side of town. You're at my house.
You sure?
Yeah. You've driven all the way across town backwards.
Must have been that Saratan I put in the gas tank. Well, I'm off for the press club.
Razor, darling, you seem to be in a lather.
Well, I am. This case has got me stumped. Who stole that cat and why?
I don't know.
Neither do I.
Oh.
Wait.
Yes?
I think I hear a murder out in the hall.
Oh, Razor, you're on edge.
Yes, perhaps I am. There, did you hear the shot?
That was the phone bell.
Oh. This is the Razor. Who? Dick Powell? Oh. Well, just fine, thank you. And you? That's fine. Well, I can't be 3 places at once. How should I know who sapped you? Peaches, I have a plan.
You have?
Yes.
Oh, that's fine.
Yes, isn't it? Peaches? What'd you say?
Nothing. That was the phone bell.
Oh. This is the razor. What? Who? Humane Society. Every one, you say? What? What? No, don't touch a thing. This looks serious. You know, Humane Society, I suspect the arch enemy of the razor, Stan Strop. I'll go to work on him right away. Peaches, you're not going to believe this. That Press Club cat was only the beginning. Every cat in town has been stolen. Peaches, I've made a list of all the suspects. Round them up and take them down to the San Francisco Opera House. That should hold them all. I'll meet you there in 1 hour, if I don't run into a murder.
They're all here, Razor. 4,000 suspects.
This ought to be easy. Somebody will betray himself with a guilty expression.
We've been here 4 days now.
Yeah. The suspects have thinned out to a mere 3,000. Peaches, I'm on the verge of cracking this case.
We've been here 3 weeks now.
Yes, and I've thinned the suspects down to a scant 1,000. Peaches, this fellow's playing hard to get.
There he goes, Razor, the last suspect.
Yes, and not one of them had a guilty expression. Peaches, this whole thing has been a dismal failure. We're on the wrong track. The razor admits. He's failed.
Oh, let's go home.
Right. Look out, Peaches! Did they slice you, Peaches?
No, I'm all right.
You know, Peaches, I'm not sure, but I think the men in that car were trying to kill me. I suspect the arch enemy of the razor, Stan Strop. I'll go to work on him right away.
Scrape the sky, Razor. I've got you covered.
Egad! Trapped by the notorious Phil Furs.
We interrupt the adventures of the Razor to bring you a brief message. The Razor is no cheap commercial detective. No one can sponsor the Razor. And now, back to the Razor.
I've got you covered now, Phil Furs.
That happened awfully fast.
Yes, didn't it?
Razor, look. That dog is growling at Phil Furs.
Yes, Peaches. Phil Furs, I arrest you for the theft of the Press Club cat and every other cat in town.
Razor, are you sure?
But, of course, I should have known it all along. That dog was growling not at Phil Furs, but at the sweater he's wearing.
The sweater Phil Furs is wearing.
You're too late, Razor.
Egad, think of it, Peaches. Phil Furs has skinned every cat in town.
But why did he steal the Press Club cat?
Simple, Peaches. That was done to confuse me. How silly. Yes, Phil Furs, I arrest you for engaging in the illegal practice of the manufacture and the sale of cashmere sweaters.
Back home again in Indiana. It just seems that I can see that same old candlelight still shining bright through the sycamores for me. And that new mown hay sends out its fragrance through the fields I used to roam. And when I dream about the moonlight on the Wabash, how I'm longing for my Indiana home. Back home again in Indiana. It just seems that I can see that same old candlelight still shining bright through the sycamores for me. And that new mown hay sends out its fragrance through the fields I used to roam. And when I dream about the moonlight on the Wabash, how I'm longing for my Indiana home.
It's contest time on the Jack Webb Show.
Yes, this is that attractive gift offer you've been all waiting for.
Say, Webb, we'd better pitch it straight.
Okay, John, I guess we have. Tell them what we'd like, will you?
Okay, gang, we got a ginger peach prize just waiting for the person who writes the best letter or postcard on the subject, how to get the Jack Webb Show off the air. Executives of the American Broadcasting Company are not eligible to enter this contest.
That's right. Folks, John's not fooling. We really would like to get your letters and cards. And the subject once more, John boy?
All right, but most of them probably have their letter written already. The subject is how to get the Jack Webb Show off the air. All letters must be postmarked not later than Sunday midnight, April 14th.
Just address your letters and cards to the Jack Webb Show, American Broadcasting Company, San Francisco, Zone C.
Honest, you'll like the prize. We can barely afford to give it away.
Sad people everywhere. This is your program. Yes, sad ones. This is the Misery Hour, presented each week at this same sad time by the makers of Phil DeMille's Pills. Is your head splitting with NIAP? Oh, that miserable NIAP feeling. Each of us has it at one time or another. No use trying to fight NIAP, for NIAP fights back. The only way to rid yourself of NIAP is to have your head removed, which is, of course, unless you have plenty of money, is not practical these days. Fight NIAP with Phil DeMille's Pills, a harmless little stimulant that contains small amounts of opium, heroin, marijuana, and cyanide. Before the various stages of NIAP set in, head NIAP, back NIAP, foot NIAP, and ear NIAP, fight NIAP effectively with Phil DeMille's Pills. NIAP spelled backward is pain. And now your host for the evening and conductor of the Misery Hour, Bill Ball.
Thank you, Terry Tier. Well, friends, before tonight's interviews begin, I am happy to report that Gladys Glue, you remember Gladys? She had on the pink formal and the big green picture hat. Lovely child. Well, Gladys Glue has decided to stick it out. She will divorce those first two husbands and stay married to the third. No applause, please. I'm sure that all of you will recall that charming little French chap, Dale Duet, the little two-headed boy. Well, I'm happy to report that little Dale has solved his problem. The public library has granted him 2 cards, and now he can have a book for each head. No applause, please. And now the case of Mrs. P.G. McMee of Milpitas. Oh, me, Mrs. McMee. You're all going to pieces. Pull yourself together now. Now, what is your problem?
Oh, I feel miserable, Mr. Ball.
We all do on this program, my dear.
Well, Mr. Ball, I don't know whether you would consider this a problem or not.
Well, tell it, my dear, and we'll see.
Well, I married my husband, Melvin McNee, and I never really did get along with his grandfather because the old man said that I had a face like his sister's cousin who was a gangster because he was given a good beating by her brother-in-law, who later turned out to be the husband of a very wealthy oil woman from Oklahoma, who never suspected her father of having anything to do with the Nazis because as far back as the 3 boys could remember, their mother was mean to them and never allowed their younger sister any of the privileges that Flossie had. which caused the uncle great concern because he had been on the lookout for her mother's brother ever since the last war and was determined that no matter what happened, he would not forgive them. So they are after me time and time again for an answer, and I still have my ambitions. Well, Mr. Ball, my problem is, should I?
Would you mind repeating that, please? Better still, let's have the next case.
Good evening, Mr. Ball. My name is Hobart Heap, and I live in Sausalito. And I have a problem.
Yes, go right ahead. Don't be nervous.
Thank you, Mr. Sausalito. My name is Ball Heap, and I live in Hobart.
Now, please, don't be nervous.
Yes. Well, my name is Hobart Sausalito, and I live in a heap.
Now. You're all unstrung. I believe your name, didn't you say your name was Sausahipo, and you live in Ball Barto?
Well, I have a problem. I am a gambler, and I do the same thing all gamblers do. I gamble. I started gambling pennies at first, and then the grocery money, and then I gambled all my wife's savings away. Our car, our home, all gone. All gone now.
And what does your wife think about all this?
I don't know. She left me yesterday. This morning she came back with the children and the washing machine, but I'd gambled the washing machine away.
I see. Well, about all you have left is your home, isn't it?
No, that went this afternoon. Just 2 hours after I lost my job. Life's just about over for me, Mr. Ball. Gambling has been my undoing.
I see. And your problem?
Mr. Ball?
Yes?
I'd like to know who looks good to you in the 4th at Bay Meadows.
half-track surplus salesman.
This week, as it must to all men, Army Day came to the infantrymen. In San Francisco, the 2nd Division paraded up Market Street.
What about surplus?
In New York, the Rainbow Division paraded up Broadway.
What about surplus?
Yes, in Washington, Army bigwigs were faced with the perplexing question of surplus. Where is it?
Thus, this Army Day, people all over America were asking the question, what about surplus? Who's buying it, or can they? To bring an end to these questions, a page torn from the private files of Hal Halftrack, surplus salesman.
Oh, you bet, madam. Why, that 16-inch shell will make a beautiful ashtray.
Well, are you sure it won't go off?
Oh, positively. Why, madam, our detonator experts have gone over that shell from stem to stern. It's as safe as a baby's rattle. Yes, you'll certainly surprise your husband with this ashtray.
All right, I'll take it. Here you are.
Fine. You won't regret this buy, madam. No, sir, you won't regret it. Over there. Goodbye. Over there. Well, it'll still make a good ashtray.
Good afternoon. Are you Hal Halftrack?
Right the first time. Hal Halftrack, and I'm dealing in Army surplus.
Fine. Then you're just the man I want to see. I've just come from the draft.
Oh, too bad, too bad. Almost got drafted myself once. Going in the Army, eh? Well, you've come to the right place. You have a decided advantage over the boys who went in early. You're going into the Army equipped.
Yes, but Mr. Halftrack...
Don't say another word. I'm going to outfit you, son. From top to bottom, you're going to be wired for sound.
But Halftrack...
If you don't quit interrupting me, fella, I'll send you right into the Army just like you are. Now, you'll need... Tell me, fella, what branch of the service do you think you're going into? Well, it really doesn't matter. First off, you're going to need a few uniforms, about 12 dozen of each. Paratroopers, cavalry, mechanized infantry, and air corps. That's in case you're transferred.
But,
You were about to say, what if you're promoted? Well, I thought of that too, fella. I'm throwing in officers' uniforms for each of the branches, 12 dozen each.
I think you're making a mistake.
Yes, you thought I was leaving out your means of transportation. Well, you're wrong. I'm putting in a fleet of jeeps on your list and a staff car in case you're appointed to the higher echelon.
Halftrack.
Halftrack. I'm glad to see you're taking an interest in this. After all, it's for your benefit, not mine. Yes, indeed, you will need a half-track. Ours haven't been working too well lately, so I'm going to include 3 in your order.
But...
That's a good question. What if you don't stay in the ground forces? What if you fly? Well, we're all out of B-29s, but I can let you have 4 B-17s.
But...
All right, you can have 6. I'll stretch a point.
You don't seem to understand.
Oh, yes, you're worried about that fighter protection up there. Well, I'm including a dozen each. 1 dozen P-38s, 1 dozen P-40s, 1 dozen P-51s, and, if you're lucky, I may throw in a half dozen of the new jets.
Half-track.
You've already got one of those on your list, fella. Now, there's only one more thing I can think of. Let me see it. Chemical warfare, yes? You'll need a full supply of all the poisonous gases, plus a sniff kit so you won't poison yourself. And I happen to have 1 carload of the late gas masks.
But...
Oh, you'll need every one of them. You'll meet a lot of friends in the Army. You know, I can't see why all the rest of the folks who come in here can't use the war surplus items I've sold you. They're all handy. Now, what have you got to say to that?
Only this. I'm the clerk of your draft board, and for some reason you were overlooked in the early call. You're going into the Army equipped. You've just been drafted.
Well, tonight's egg was laid on the vocal side by Clancy Hayes and Nora McNamara. John Galbraith and Ethel Sterling blew the lines. Phil Bavaro and his ragged airs were the music. Dick Green glued the joints together. This is Jack Webb saying good night, gang. Hey, don't forget us again next week about 9:30. And don't forget your letters and cards, will you?
This is ABC, the American Broadcasting Company.
Dragnet. Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned the burglary detail. During the last 2 weeks, there have been a series of burglaries in the Valley Division. You haven't got a lead. Your job, find one. Dragnet, the
the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Wednesday, September 9th. It was hot in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of burglary division. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Bernard. My name's Friday. We're on our way out to a recently completed housing project in the valley. It was 10:13 a.m. when we got to the corner of Moore Park and Victory. Mayflower Homes.
This one right here, huh?
Yeah, 224.
I guess they haven't sold them all yet.
Mm-hmm.
$500 down, not too bad. Pretty nice houses.
You thinking of getting a new place?
Oh, I was thinking. Kids are shooting up. We could use a little more room.
Mm-hmm.
Just what Faye always wanted. House nobody else is living in. Well, someday, maybe.
Yeah.
Yes, sir?
We're police officers. This is Frank Smith. My name's Friday.
Oh, how do you do?
Hi.
Somebody reported a burglary at this address. Are you Sam Brighton?
Yes, sir, that's me.
Mm-hmm.
Would you show us where he broke in, please?
Oh, yes, sir. It's in the front bedroom. Just this right here. That's it, yeah. Just off the hall here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this window here, you can see where he jimmied it.
Yeah.
I was careful not to touch it. You know, fingerprints.
That's good. Can you give us a list of the things he took?
Well, no, sir, not for certain. We were just getting moved in, and we don't know for sure what's gone. A couple of silver trays and a pair of candlesticks, they're missing.
Any cash?
Oh, about $25. When I changed to go out to dinner last night, I left it in my trousers. They were in the other bedroom on the back of a chair. Pretty dumb place to leave money.
Your family live here with you?
My wife.
I see.
We've only been married a couple of weeks. Things he stole, they were wedding presents.
That's too bad.
Sure is a heck of a way to start out. Being married, I mean. Never wanted a house in the first place. Well, it's their own fault.
What do you mean, sir?
Sally's parents insisted on giving it to us, the down payment part. Sally will never be able to manage a big place like this. She's just a couple of years younger than I am. Just a kid. Apartment's what we ought to have. No point in arguing with in-laws, though. I found that out pronto.
Yeah. Any idea what time the burglary took place?
Yes, sir. Between 6 and 10 last night. Must have been then, between 6 and 10.
Mm-hmm.
We went over to Sally's folks for dinner. Our refrigerator hasn't been delivered yet.
I see.
The reason I'm so sure about the time is I wanted to find out how long it would take to drive there.
Mm-hmm.
I told Sally it wouldn't be more than 15 minutes. First time she's ever been away from home, she kind of likes to feel that her folks are handy.
I understand.
Hollywood Hills, that's where they live. Off of Mulholland. Took us 14 minutes. Left here 6 o'clock exactly. News was just coming on the radio. Got there 6:14. I'm not so sure when we got home, but it was right around 10 o'clock.
That's close enough.
Of course, I didn't know about the burglary then, when we got home. We just went straight to bed. Didn't come in here. We used the back bedroom.
Yeah.
It wasn't until this morning when I started looking in my pants for cash.
Mm-hmm. Is it possible he broke in while you were asleep?
Well, I might have slept through it, but not Sally. Least little thing wakes her up. She'd have heard him. Must have happened while we were out.
Have you noticed anybody suspicious hanging around the last couple of days?
No, sir. Of course, we're brand new in the neighborhood. Most of the houses aren't even sold yet. We wouldn't know who was suspicious and who wasn't.
Be all right if we talk to your wife?
Oh, she couldn't tell you anything I haven't.
She here now?
Over to Mother's. This kind of thing, well, kind of threw her, you know. You know how it is, just a kid.
Yeah, we understand.
Wish it had been me that found out about the bird.
The bird?
Well, didn't I tell you? I meant to.
No.
Darndest thing. Parakeet. Somebody gave it to Sally when she was a girl. Taught it how to talk. Talk real good, too. Why should a burglar do a thing like that?
What did he do, turn it loose?
No, sir, he killed it.
We talked to Mrs. Brighton at her parents' home. She was unable to add anything to what her husband had told us. 1:15 p.m. The crime lab reported that there were no useful fingerprints on the Brighton window. Pictures were taken of the jimmy marks. There was no other physical evidence. September 11th, 2 more burglaries took place in a new housing tract near Sepulveda Boulevard. The burglar had followed the same M.O. used on the Brighton house. One victim also told us that 3 pet canaries had been killed. The other victim had no pets. By the end of the following week, 4 more burglaries had occurred in new housing developments. In each case where the home contained pet birds, the bird was killed. Other pets were not disturbed. Circulars describing the stolen articles were sent to all pawn shops in the city. September 21st, 8:05 a.m., we checked in for work.
Oh, man.
What's the matter? You still asleep?
Yeah, I didn't get a wink last night. They was at me all night.
No?
It's my own fault, Joe. Never should have told her about all those new houses going up nowadays. It was a big mistake.
Well, I thought you told me you were considering a new house.
Yeah, I changed my mind. We got enough people staying with us as it is. Faye's relatives. Brother-in-law Armin, you know.
Oh, him, huh?
Yeah, he's down here. As long as he has to sleep on the living room couch, he'll take off after a day or two. Give him a real bed, and he'd stay with us for the rest of his life.
I get it. Burglary Friday. Yes, sir. When did it happen? I see. Just a minute, please. All right, go ahead. That's 214 South? Yes, sir. I've got it. Right. Well, we got another one.
Yeah?
Pet shop over near Lancashire Boulevard.
A shop?
Uh-huh.
That doesn't sound like our boy.
Might be if they sell birds. We left the office and drove out to the Biggs Pet Shop on a side street in North Hollywood. 9:07 a.m., we interviewed Jasper Biggs, the owner of the store. He told us that during the night, the back door had been forced open. $17 was missing from the cash register.
Money ain't important, you understand. Not that anybody likes being robbed.
Yes, sir, we understand.
Besides, it's happened before. That's why I keep this sign up here on the register that tells them how to open it.
I see.
A couple of years ago, a fella broke in and wrecked the machine trying to get it open. That cash register's worth a whole lot more in it than I keep in it.
Shut up over there, all of you!
Dang much racket in here, a person can't even think. Now, where was I? Oh, yeah, about the money. Now, like I said, it don't matter, the $17.
Yes, sir.
Birds is different. They do matter.
Sir?
Well, he killed all of them, every last one.
I see.
Parakeets, canaries, parrots.
Mm-hmm.
Parakeets and canaries, now, they don't matter. I can replace them. Insurance will take care of it anyway. Them parrots is another story. It's a different story entirely.
Yes, sir.
2 of them was on consignment, worth over $100 apiece. $100. Bet you never figured birds run that high, did you?
No, sir.
Well, they do. Parrots, anyway, some of them. And what's more, my insurance don't cover birds on consignment. How do you like that?
Huh?
Check with the fellow who sold me the policy right after I called the police. Says birds on consignment aren't covered. Loophole. That's what it is, loophole.
Yes, sir.
Probably somebody wanting to buy them parrots. Be just my luck. Biggs Pet Shop. Who? Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're still here. Just a minute. It's for you.
Thank you. This Friday. Yeah. Okay, give me that address. All right, I got it. As soon as we can.
Right. We got another one?
Tracked off Riverside Drive.
Same routine.
One thing's different.
Yeah.
Some lady saw him. We ended our interview with Mr. Biggs, and we drove out to the address of a Mrs. Nellie Diver, who had just reported a burglary. Mrs. Diver told us her house had been entered shortly after she left to do her marketing. She discovered she'd forgotten her grocery list, and she came back for it. When she returned, the burglar was in the dining room. He had entered through a side window. The M.O. appeared to be the same as in the other recent burglaries.
Never saw such a surprised look on a man's face in my life. He just stood there like he was frozen solid for a minute or more. And then he lit out through the back door like it split.
Uh-huh. How long were you gone from the house, ma'am?
5-10 minutes. As soon as I remembered about my list, I started back. I don't know why I'm getting so forgetful. Old age must be catching up with me.
Well, it's a good thing you did forget, Miss Diver.
Hmm? Oh, you mean so he didn't get time to steal anything?
Yes, ma'am.
Nothing around here worth stealing. Wonder how he happened to pick me. It'd be different if I lived up in Bel Air or one of those estates.
Well, if it's who we think it is, he's satisfied with smaller homes.
You mean he's pulled this kind of stunt before?
Yes, ma'am.
You don't say.
Do you think you'd recognize the man if you saw him again?
I beg your pardon?
The man who broke in here. You said you got a good look at him.
Oh, real good. Stood there in the dining room for a full minute, maybe more.
Then you'd recognize him, would you?
I don't see why not. This isn't the first time we met up, you understand.
How's that?
Saw him once before.
Well, when was that?
Last week sometime. I'm not certain. Wednesday or Thursday, middle of the week, in through there.
You sure it was the same man?
Looked the same. Came right up to my door.
Well, what do you want?
I'm not certain of that either. I've been racking my brain trying to remember. So many fellows around here last week. 2 or 3 milkmen trying to sign me up. A couple of people wanting me to take newspapers. 3 or 4 asking about dry cleaning. Somebody selling rugs. Spent half my time running to the door. So help me, I can't remember which one he was. Getting old, sure as fate.
You think he was just pretending to be a door-to-door salesman of some kind or other?
Seems to me they were all trying to sell something. It's what always happens when you settle in a new location.
Yes, ma'am. Well, if you'd mind coming downtown with us for a little while.
No, I wouldn't mind. What for?
We'd like to show you some photographs, see if you can pick the man out for us.
Right now?
If you could, yes.
Well, you just give me a minute to get my hat and change Henry's water.
Henry?
My canary out in the kitchen.
Oh.
Haven't you noticed the way he's been... Oh, that's funny.
Ma'am?
He's usually singing up a blues streak this time of day.
We went into the kitchen with Mrs. Diver, and we found the dead bird. She agreed to accompany us downtown. 11:05 a.m. We pulled the mug shots of burglars who matched the description that she'd given us, and we showed them to Mrs. Diver. She identified one of the photographs, Stanley A. Bushing. Bushing had done time in the state penitentiary as a cat burglar. From his 510s, we learned his acquaintances and the places he was known to frequent. 3:36 p.m. We located Bushing in a bar on North Main. Stan Bushing?
Yeah?
Police officers.
You don't say.
Want to talk to you, Bushing.
Be my guest.
Come on, let's go.
What's the matter with right here? Joint don't get noisy until later on. Why not right here?
Where were you last night?
What time?
All night. And this morning, 8 o'clock this morning.
Why do you want to know?
All right, come on, let's go.
Well, give me a chance to finish my beer, will you? Look, you boys want to know where I was last night? All right, I'll tell you. I just want to know why, that's all.
You been up the valley lately? Well, come on, how about it?
Oh, that's why you're after me. You think I've been pulling those house crawls?
What do you know about them?
Well, I read in the papers.
You know more than that.
I do?
There was another one this morning.
That's news to me.
Is that so?
Yeah, I haven't bought a paper yet today.
Lady saw you.
Huh?
Right after you broke in.
Me, huh?
She says it's you.
Well, she needs glasses.
Well, we don't think so.
Look, you'll never make it stick.
We're going to try, fella.
I'm clean. Not even on parole no more.
There won't be parole this time.
There won't be anything.
Oh, come on, Bushing. Quit stalling.
Look, don't get yourself in an uproar. Take it easy. You'll live longer. Suppose I got an alibi.
Well, we'll try it for size.
For all night and this morning.
Go on.
I was with friends.
We got a lady who says different.
I got a lot of friends.
Yeah, we know you're friends. We'll settle for the lady.
10:30 last night till 9 o'clock this morning with them every minute.
Where?
You ain't going to like it.
Where were you?
You're going to look pretty foolish.
Come on, let's have it, Bushing.
Drunk tank, Lincoln Heights Jail. We verified Bushing's alibi with the booking sergeant at Lincoln Heights, and we learned that he was in the clear as far as the previous night was concerned. 5:06 p.m. We interviewed Mrs. Diver again. She wavered in her identification of Bushing's photo, and she said she couldn't tell us anything more. Teletypes of the suspect's description were sent out. The next day, Tuesday, September 22nd, we had a meeting with the skipper, Captain Bernard. Well, where do we stand?
Just about where we did when it started.
It's not good, is it?
No, it's not.
We thought we had him yesterday, Skipper, but it didn't pan out.
You got a description?
Well, if she's no better at describing him than she is at identification, it doesn't mean much.
We figure he pretends to be a salesman of some kind.
Is that how he cases the houses?
As far as we can tell, yeah.
You need a lot more than that.
No.
This guy's got to be stopped. It isn't just the burglaries. Seems half of the people in L.A. keep pet birds. I don't know. My kids have a couple of canaries themselves. You get attached to them like you do anything else.
I know.
You boys seen the mail on this thing?
No, sir.
Letters from all over, not just in town here, all over. People are raising Cain. My own kids asking me when we're going to catch him. Can't wait any longer for a break. We've got to make one.
Well, you got any ideas?
I don't know. We've just been working housing projects, huh?
Except for that one pet store, yeah.
Well, let's forget the store and see if we can get a pattern out of the houses.
Well, they're all new places. Folks have just moved in. He cracks one or two in each development, and he moves on. So far, he stayed in the Valley Division out there.
The way they're building up out that way, he won't run out of targets.
No.
They opened any new projects the last week or so?
Yeah, a couple.
He tapped them yet?
No. We alerted the owners, told them to warn anybody who moves in. Probably won't do much good, though.
Might. If you two moved in.
Wednesday, September 23rd. We drove out to a new track just off Coldwater Canyon Boulevard. It was called White Manor Homes. We found the tract office near the main entrance, and we went inside.
Gentlemen, what can I do for you? Are you interested in owning a new home?
We're police officers, sir. This is Frank Smith. My name's Friday.
Police?
That's right, sir.
Well, I don't think I've had any parking tickets lately.
We're from burglary.
Oh, about the Birdman, I suppose.
How's that?
Yeah, that's what they call him in the papers, you know, the Birdman.
Yes, it's about him.
He hasn't been around here.
Well, no, sir, not as far as we know.
Well, that's a relief. Not that it makes much difference.
You're in charge of this project, are you, sir?
Yes, sir. My name's Simple, Forrest Simple. I've got a card right here on the desk.
That's all right, Mr. Simple.
I own White Manor Home.
I see.
I guess I should say me and the bank. We own it together.
Yes.
It's all going to belong to the bank, though, the way things are going. Been open nearly a week now. I haven't sold a single house. Haven't even had a decent offer.
Oh, what's the trouble, sir?
Now, you know what's the trouble just as well as I do. Birdman, that's the trouble. Folks just aren't going to move into any new developments until he's caught. Sent me a circular last week, the police department. I'm supposed to warn anybody who buys from me. Put them on their guard.
Yes, sir.
Don't need any warning. They're scared off as it is. 3 months ago, I'd be half sold out by now. Seems to me you fellows are dogging it. Now, I'm not telling you your business, mind you, but it seems to me you should have picked him up before this.
Yes, sir. Maybe you can help us.
How's that?
Well, the sign out in front says that 2 of your houses are furnished. Is that right?
Oh, that's just for display. Wesley's department store did it. Figures it's good advertising.
Yes, sir.
Of course, I don't sell them furnished, just for display.
We'd like to use one of them for a few days.
Use one?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm afraid I don't follow you.
Well, sir, you've got a sold sign that you can put up in the front yard, haven't you?
Well, I guess so.
Well, we'll see that nothing's disturbed. If anybody asks, you tell them that a new couple moved in.
Oh, I get you. Decoys, huh?
Yes, sir, something like that.
Well, I don't know. Department store might not go for the idea.
Well, we'll clear it with them.
Well, if it's all right with them.
Thank you.
How long do you suppose it'll take?
How's that?
To catch them.
Well, your guess is as good as ours, if it works at all.
It better work. Pressure's building up. You fellas don't know what it's like being under pressure. Owe the bank a lot of money on this project. Figured I'd have at least half a dozen houses sold by now. At least half a dozen.
Mm-hmm.
Interest to be paid is the principal, and the bank expects it on time. You can't blame them for that.
No, sir.
You don't know what it's like having the pressure turned on.
We get a little every once in a while.
Oh, well, that's different. Your boss rides you and tells you to get on the ball. You don't have to worry. He can't fire you. Cops are civil servants. Pressure from your boss? Well, that's different.
Not coming from him.
Well, where's it coming from?
Guy who kills birds. We telephoned the Wesley department store and we talked to the manager. He gave us permission to use the house that they'd decorated. At a neighborhood pet store, we purchased a cage and 2 canaries. It was 11:30 a.m. when we got back to White Manor Homes. Mr. Simple was putting up a sold sign in front of one of the houses.
What you got there? Oh, canaries, huh?
Yes, sir.
Well, here's the key, in case you want to lock up. Door's open now.
Thank you.
Want me to spread the word?
What's that, sir?
That I've sold this place?
We'd appreciate that.
Okay, I'll see that it gets around.
Thank you.
Man, some layout, huh?
Yeah, it's very nice.
Yeah, great. You know anything about taking care of birds?
Well, I don't think there's much to it. Just water and seed, huh?
Yeah. Hey, Joe. Get a load of that couch.
Yeah.
What, it's 8 feet long, 15 inches.
Just about.
If they ever sees this place, I'm dead.
What'd you tell her?
Oh, we were on a job. I certainly didn't go into detail.
Mm-hmm.
Wonder what it would cost. To fix a joint up like this, how much it would cost?
More than we make.
Yeah. Nah, probably wouldn't be very comfortable anyway. Not like having your own stuff you're used to.
No.
Hey, boy, they're really setting up a storm, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're kind of cute, too. Hey, you know, Joe Fay might like a couple of birds. Be good company for her when the kids are in school.
Well, maybe you can have those.
I never thought of that.
If he doesn't get them first. No one came by the house that afternoon or that evening. At 6 p.m., Frank went home. I stayed through the night. Thursday, September 24th, 9:15 a.m. We had our first visitor. Frank waited in the bedroom while I talked to her. She was a young lady who said that she represented the local Chamber of Commerce. She told me her job was to welcome newcomers to the neighborhood. She gave me some maps and a book of coupons which could be exchanged for free introductory gifts at various stores in the vicinity. During the rest of the day, we had 4 more callers. 2 newspaper agents, a representative from a dry cleaning establishment, and a charity worker. As far as we could tell, they were all genuinely fond of birds. 4:45 p.m., a small old truck pulled up in front.
Look, coming up the walk.
Pretty close to Miss Diver's description, isn't it?
Yeah. Want me to get out of here?
Yeah, better if he only sees one of us, huh?
Right.
Okay.
Lady of the house here?
Out shopping.
Oh, wow, come back.
What's it about?
I'd rather talk to her.
Why?
I'd like to take over your yard. I'm a gardener, mister.
Oh. Well, I'm the one to see about that. Why not?
Ask a man for a gardening job. He says he'll do it himself, weekends and after work. Don't understand how much work it'll be. Wife knows better and knows her husband, too. She's the one hires me.
Well, maybe I'm different. It's a pretty big yard. Plan on spending my weekends on my back.
I don't blame you.
Come on inside for a minute.
Yeah, sure.
How much would you charge for a yard this size?
Want me to handle watering, too?
No, I guess we can take care of the water.
Well, I'll come once a week, then mow the lawn, look after your flowers, do weeding, planting.
Well, we're pretty well landscaped now.
Well, you'll want some of your own plants. Could use a couple more roses alongside there.
That's possible. What's the matter?
No, I'm just looking around. Swell place you got here.
How much for the yard work?
$25 a month.
Nice steep.
Big yard, said so yourself.
You'd only be here a couple hours a week, you know.
Well, 25 is the best I can do. You think it over. I got to be sure now.
How about 20?
Sorry, mister.
Not worth any more than that. Got plenty of gardeners for 20, you know that.
Up to you. Ain't got any other jobs in this neck of the woods. I have to drive all the way out here.
How'd you happen to find us then? I say, how'd you happen to find us then?
Well, I heard about this project. I thought more of them would be sold by now. Guess you're the only people moved in, huh?
Right.
Yeah, I thought there'd be more.
Probably will be before long.
Well, if I pick up any other customers in the project, I might come down. 25 for now.
Ready, can't swing that.
Well, you think it over. I'll drop back there, so. Somebody here most of the time?
Most of the time, yeah.
I'll drop back.
Oh, shut up, will you?
What?
I wasn't talking to you. Those
Oh.
canaries.
Yeah.
They're crazy.
What's wrong with them?
Well, they're a nuisance. They're always screeching to get on somebody's nerves.
I guess you don't like birds.
Well, I could do without these.
Well, why don't you get rid of them?
Oh, my wife would blow her sack.
Ah, yeah.
Pride and joy. You know, she talks to them all the time. Baby talk to
Yeah,
them.
just like my old lady.
Your wife keep birds too, does she?
Uh-huh.
Oh.
Yeah, when I was a kid, cages all over the place. I had 15, 20 birds.
Well, I guess I'm lucky we only got these.
Yeah, you're lucky. I had a dog once.
Yeah?
Rusty, that was his name. He was a mutt. Only dog I ever had. Killed one of our canaries.
All right.
That wasn't his fault. Bird got loose. He didn't know no better. Just playing with it. Didn't mean to kill it.
Sure.
He got rid of Rusty. My mom did. Sent him away. I don't know what happened to him.
That's too bad.
Never had another dog after that. He wouldn't let me. Just birds. Just lay awake at night listening to him sing. That's what she called it. Didn't sound like singing to me. Couldn't cover him over. That was cruel to cover him over. That night long, I had to listen to him. Like you said, gets on a fellow's nerves.
Yeah.
I sneaked downstairs, took him out of their cages. And you're real quiet. Killed them all. All Mom's birds. Well, I couldn't stay after that. Ran away from home. Wish I could have stayed. Wish I could have seen her face next morning. Made it up for Rusty.
Yeah.
I still keep hearing them, though. Have to keep killing them over and over. So many birds. Folks put them in a cage, lock them up. Feel sorry for them afterwards. Don't make sense. I don't feel sorry for something just because it's locked up.
You might.
The story you've just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On November 12th, the hearing was held in Department 98, Superior Court, State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. Philip James Borch was examined by 6 psychiatrists appointed by the court and found to be mentally incompetent. He was committed to the state mental hospital at Mendocino for an indefinite period of time.
Dragnet is a presentation of the United States Armed Forces Radio Service.
From San Francisco, the American Broadcasting Company presents
1 out of 7.
"24 hours make a day, 7 days make 1 week. And from these past 7 days, the editors here in our San Francisco newsroom have chosen the one story which they have judged most worthy of retelling. This is 1 out of 7.
Stand high above the wind, above, apart, alone, and look down on them. Look down on them. Look, and have only compassion in your hearts. Pitiful creatures. So confused, bewildered, and so confused. Oh, it is no use. No use. It is no use. They want to kill themselves. They want to kill everything. The fools, so blind, kill everything, break everything into little pieces. The fools destroy, kill. Stand high above the wind, above the proud speck of earth, and behold the ravaged thing, swinging perilously there in space and darkness, straining at its moorings, quaking on its orbit, and turn an inquiring ear to the angry little voices that arise therefrom, and soon lose themselves to the enveloping immensities of time and space. Listen. 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 People of this great and glorious nation, let me tell you there is only one way to ensure the peace of the world so dearly bought. And that is by standing firm with other nations, by displaying our armed might at every turn, and if necessary, by getting tough. Getting tough. Let me tell you, people of this great and glorious nation, the Third World War is already well on its way to fulfillment. Already the world is turning into an armed camp, seething mistrust, suspicion, fear. Third World War soon to be realized? Is it not now evident that we must prepare for its coming and take steps to defend ourselves? Is it not now evident that there is a nation to the westward with whom it is impossible to live in peace and security? The danger is there. It is threatening. And I say that if we must fight another war, then let's have it now and be done with it. If our freedom must be bought again with the sacrifice of more sons, then let us be brave enough and strong enough to buy that freedom. The danger is there, and we must fight it. We must fight it. We must fight it. We must fight it.
suspicions, mistrust, eating at their tiny mortal brains, hating, not knowing why they hate, not understanding, not caring to understand, speaking of their doom as though it were another crusade, unmindful of the great cloak of darkness, pressing closer. Strange, pitiful creatures. Listen to them. Listen. And mark the signs of impending doom. Listen.
Reveal that a score of congressmen will soon submit a bill which provides that American military and naval bases throughout the world, together with our total armed might, be further strengthened to provide against attack by possible enemy nations in the West.
The United Nations organization, the supposed hope of the world, is reeling toward its grave already. Regrettable indeed, but that certainly appears to be the situation tonight after the serious cleavage between the big three powers on current issues of major importance. In fact, only this afternoon, a prominent military source in Washington told me that the Third World War is not only inevitable, but fast approaching. These past weeks, America, her people, and her neighbors reacted with dead pessimism to the ever-growing possibility of a Third World War. In a recognized national poll of public opinion, a cross-section of the populace was asked,
do you think there will be another world war in the next 20 years?
And the people, lately delivered from the death grip of a second world holocaust, answered in a majority of more than 65%. Yeah, there will be another world war in the next 20 years. A footnote to the parents, the mothers and fathers of Earth. Go now and look down into the face of your sleeping child. Conjure up the child's future. Yes, if all these signs and grim portents achieve disastrous reality. Contemplate the inevitable horror, and then act according to the dictates of your will. Stand high above the wind and look down with pity in your hearts, and listen to the angry mutterings of the childlike creatures as they quarrel over they know not what.
Communist fifth columns are established and are now working in complete unity and absolute obedience to Moscow. Nobody knows what Soviet Russia intends to do in the immediate future, or what are the limits, if any, to their expansive tendencies. Thus, neither the sure prevention of war nor the continuous rise of world organization will be gained without the fraternal association of the English-speaking people. This means that a special relationship should be established between the British Commonwealth and Empire and the United States.
A few days later, after endless hysterical commentary and reaction, there comes the answer to these words.
The Soviet Union will follow its chosen path without deviation. Until now, those who tried to show strength to the Russian people, without exception, lost in the undertaking. Why then does Mr. Winston Churchill call the two great Anglo-Saxon nations to this fatal road? Russia is not seeking world supremacy, but our nation is determined to secure its own frontiers. To do this, we will not yield to any threats, to any subterfuges, nor to any art of the most modern, familiar, or unfamiliar weapons.
And while the storm rages, and suspicions, mistrust, and misunderstandings grow, and accepted channels of information clog the nation's mind with frightened, uncertain reports, from a quiet house in the city of Washington, the quiet voice of aging statesman Cordell Hull is heard throughout the towns and cities of the nation. We who are living now must not allow the human race to commit suicide through the lack of vision, or through selfishness, impatience, or provocation. I offer this 5-point program to help us overcome the dark threatening the world. First, that we examine with sympathy and patience the views of others. Secondly, that we ascertain the true facts. Thirdly, that we avoid taking stubborn positions one way or the other. Fourthly, that we refrain from exaggerating and overemphasizing one's own claim. And lastly, that we refrain from making an appeal to prejudice. Stand high above the wind and look down on them. Pitiful creatures, so confused, so frightened by the gathering darkness, so sure that there will be a tomorrow, so sure, even while their speck of earth totters at the edge of utter destruction. Look down on them and have pity.
The script for 1 out of 7 is written by James Edward Moser. Gil Dowd is the producer, and music is by Otto Clare at the Hammond organ. Tonight's program was based on dispatches taken from the wires of Associated Press, United Press, and International News Service. All characters were portrayed by Jack Webb. Listen next week, same time, same station for
1 out of 7.
Mark Jordan speaking. This is ABC, the American Broadcasting Company.
Dragnet.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned the Bunko fugitive detail. A pawnbroker tells you he suspects a swindle. He isn't sure. Your job? Check it out.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Wednesday, May 18th. It was cool in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch at a Bunko fugitive detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Dillian. My name's Friday. I was on my way into the office, and it was 7:55 a.m. when I got to room 38. Bunko fugitive.
Never know. Hi, Joe.
Morning.
You remember Fred Alpin?
Oh, sure. Hi, Fred.
Hi. Hold my own, Sergeant.
Well, what's new?
I'm not sure. Maybe just wasting my time. Yours, too.
Fred thinks he stumbled onto a con game, Joe.
All right?
No, look that way to me, anyhow.
Yeah. Well, what's the sting?
Well, I was just telling Smith here. Yeah. A fella came in last night, a little guy. He was kind of timid. Probably never been in a pawn shop before. At least he wasn't a steady. You know, I can spot them straight off.
Yeah.
Wanted to pawn a ring. Got a big green stone. Fancy setting. All gimmicked up, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Man's ring. Real fancy, though. Asked me what it was worth.
What'd you tell him?
Worth $20, maybe 25.
Is that what you told him?
You know I can't loan full value. You know that.
Mm-hmm.
I offered him $5. I would have gone up to 10 if he'd have pressed me. That's better than a lot of brokers would give.
Did he take the 5?
Are you kidding? He went all to pieces. Thought he was going to have a hemorrhage. Started calling me a crook. Said the ring was an emerald. Shouted, screamed all over the place. It's an emerald, he said. A $5,000 emerald. That hunk of glass.
Are you sure you didn't make a mistake, Fred?
No, I ask you, Sergeant. Would anybody try to pawn a 5G emerald with me? I ask you. Glass, that's what it was. Green glass. A nice setting, though.
What do you think, Joe? Well, the old diamond switch, maybe. Could be. Sounds like the only difference is the color. You get his name, Fred?
Yeah, I asked him. He just shouted and carried on, though. He wasn't making any sense at all. Got his license, though.
Oh?
Yeah, he was parked right in front of the place. Got the number when he drove off. Thought you might want it.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote it out. Put it in my pocket. It should be right here. Now, wait a minute. Oh, yeah, here it is. A match folder on the inside. You make it out all right?
Yeah, I think so. We'll check it.
Uh-huh. Might be a good idea if you got right on it, huh?
What do you mean?
Well, just before he left my place, he stopped all that carrying on. I think it sunk in what I told him about the ring being no good.
Yeah.
Got real quiet, you know, kind of like he was making up his mind about something.
Yeah.
Asked me to sell him a gun.
Fred Alpin gave us a description of the man who had tried to pawn the ring. We called our branch of DMV and asked them to check the license number. They came up with the information that the automobile bearing that license was registered in the name of Garfield Hunt at 221 North Selma Avenue, Hollywood. 9:03 a.m. Frank and I drove out to talk to him.
Boy, sure is a clear day. Look at those hills, Joe.
Well, I read in the paper you could see for 40 miles.
Yeah, I bet.
Morning.
Who are you? What do you want?
Is Mr. Hunt here?
No. No, he's not here.
Well, he lives here, doesn't he?
Who are you?
Oh, I'm sorry, ma'am. We're police officers.
Police?
That's right. This is my partner, Frank Smith. My name's Friday.
Where is he? What's happened to him?
Mind if we come inside? Be a little easier to talk.
Oh, yes, of course. Oh, I forgot. Sofa's still made up. Slept down here last night, so I'd be near the phone. Thought he might call. Thought somebody'd call.
Your husband didn't come home.
Never happened before. Not in 37 years.
Yes, ma'am.
Just let me fold up that blanket so you
Here,
can
I'll
sit
give
down.
you a hand,
Oh, thank you.
You got any idea where your husband might have gone, Miss Hunt?
No. No idea at all.
What time did he leave?
9:35. Looked at the clock as he went out the door. Couldn't believe it. Not like Gar to go out that late. Usually in bed by 10.
Yes, ma'am.
He promised me he'd only be gone an hour. Promised me he'd be back by 10:30 for sure.
I see.
Never heard a word from him after that, not a word. What do you suppose happened to him?
We're sorry we don't know, Miss Hunt.
Well, you must have some notion.
Sorry, we don't.
You said you wanted to talk to him.
Just a few questions, routine.
What about?
Well, we'd rather talk to him. You notify the police that he's missing?
No, I didn't know what to do. Figured you'd get in touch with me when you found him. Guess I wasn't thinking very good. Never happened before.
Yes, ma'am.
Are there any friends he might be staying with, relatives?
We don't know anybody else from Los Angeles.
I see.
Just moved out here last winter from Kansas. Children have grown up, settled. Gar sold the business. We moved out here. Kansas winters can be pretty cold.
Yes, ma'am. Is your husband retired?
Yeah, he should be. He worked hard all his life. He deserves a rest. Had a little trouble with his heart last year. No, not a real attack. The doctor told him to take it easy.
Mm-hmm.
Not Gar, though. Wasn't out here 2 months before he got all restless and fidgety. Just couldn't take it sitting around the house. Started up again.
In business?
Yes, sir. We had a tailor shop back in Kansas. Gar found a new business district opening up in the San Fernando Valley off of Magnolia Boulevard. They were renting cheap, right at the beginning, wanted tenants.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't do much business at first, but things have been getting better. Gar's a good tailor. A lot more careful than most. Learned his trade young. The days when there were tailors.
Yes, ma'am. You try to reach him there at the shop?
I called last night 3 or 4 times. This morning, too. Nobody answered.
Let's see.
You think you can find me?
We'll do our best.
I guess maybe I should have notified you last night.
Yes, ma'am.
I didn't know what to do. Thought you'd get in touch with me if something happened.
Well, better to call us first.
No, I guess so.
Then it might not happen. Mrs. Hunt gave us a description of her husband. We advised her to make a formal report at the Valley Division. A local and an APB were sent out. 3:15 p.m. Patrol car unit 9L78 reported Hunt had been found sitting in his car. The car was parked on Mulholland Drive. Hunt had readily identified himself. We asked the officers to bring him in for questioning.
Hi, Joe. Frank.
Pete?
Hi, Pete. Here he is.
Thanks for spotting him for us.
Sure, anytime.
Want to sit down, Hunt? Good, sit down.
What do you want with me?
Just like to talk to you, that's all. This is Frank Smith. My name's Friday.
I've never been under arrest before, not once.
Well, now you're not under arrest now, Mr. Hunt.
And what am I doing here? Why did those officers make me come with them?
Well, you didn't go home last night. Your wife's been worried about you.
Well, I was going home when they found me. Wasn't any place else to go. Sarah oughtn't to have called.
She didn't call, sir.
Well, how'd you find out?
You tried to buy a gun. Pawn shop over on Main Street.
Oh.
Well, what'd you want the gun for?
I wouldn't have hurt him. I just wanted my money back. I thought I could scare him. That's all. I don't know nothing about firearms. Thought maybe I could scare him.
Who'd you want to scare? Now, who were they?
Well, they said they was renting a store next to mine. Said they was jewelers that opened up a Valley branch for Lassingwells. You know, the big jewelry store downtown here.
Uh-huh.
Crooks. That's what they were. Out and out crooks. Went looking for them early this morning. Back door to their store was open, you know, the one next to mine.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
I couldn't find hide nor hair of them. The place was empty. Just a couple of fakes. Had the windows soaked over so nobody could see what they were up to. Pounding on some old boards, making me think that they was remodeling.
Uh-huh. How much money did they get from you?
Not them exactly. Fellow working with them. Must have been working with them. Only way it makes sense.
Well, now, suppose you tell us about it, will you?
He come into my shop the day before yesterday. It was long about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Called himself Norman Christ. He said he was from Greeley.
Really?
That's a town in Colorado where my brother lives. Mm-hmm. Said he knew my brother Ed back there.
What do you want with you?
Well, he claimed that Ed asked him to look me up, see how I was doing. Probably didn't know Ed at all. They must have told him, them jeweler fellows.
Uh-huh.
I got to thinking back. Remembered I mentioned having a brother in Colorado one day when we was having lunch. Told him the town, too. Greeley.
What happened then? Did he sell you the ring?
Oh, you know about that, too.
Well, you tried to pawn it, didn't you?
No, sir, not really. I just wanted to find out how much it was worth so that I could tell Sarah, you know, I was going to surprise her. Figured that I'd give him another day before I tried to sell it.
Well, how'd you happen to buy it?
Oh, I wasn't buying it outright. I was just loaning him on it.
Mm-hmm.
Told me he had a chance to option some property out near Encino. Real bargain. Said he had to close the deal by 5 p.m. that same day. He needed cash for a clincher.
Mm-hmm.
Had to get the money from Colorado. That's what he said. He was
Afraid he wouldn't be here in time. He couldn't go to the bank, didn't have any credit in L.A.
Uh-huh.
Needed $3,000. He said that if I'd loan him the $3,000, he'd give me back $4,000 first thing the next morning. Offered me his ring for security. He said it was worth $7,000 easy. Said it cost him more than that.
You hand the money over?
No, sir, not by a darn sight. Told him I didn't have $3,000. I told him straight out.
Uh-huh.
Said all I had was $1,500 in my savings account. I guess I shouldn't have said that.
Very nuts, sir.
He told me he might be able to swing it for $1,500. He'd have to go out there and see him in person. Said he'd come back.
Did he leave then?
No, not right away. I stopped him. I told him there was no point in coming back. I'm no jewel, I said. How do I know that ring's worth $7,000? Told me to get it appraised while he was gone. Told me to take it to any jeweler I wanted to. Seemed like he sure trusted me. Even a valuable ring like that kind of sold me on him.
Mm-hmm.
I went next door to ask those fellas who said they was jewelers. Place was locked up, so I figured they was still out to lunch.
Mm-hmm.
I figured maybe they was in the drugstore down on the corner, see?
Did you find them up there?
Yes, sir.
What'd they say about the ring?
Perfect emerald. That's what they said. One of them put a gadget up to his eye, looked through it. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir, I know.
Perfect emerald worth $10,000. Not the flaw in it.
Mm-hmm.
Acted like they thought it was mine. Offered to buy if I wanted to sell. I told them about the other fellow. That he needed $3,000. I told them the whole story. I did.
Uh-huh.
They said they'd loan him $5,000 without batting an eye. Offered to make out a check right then and there. Kind of took my wind away. They were so anxious. I said maybe we could go in 50-50. They put up $1,500. I'd put up $1,500. That way, the guy would have $3,000 if he still needed that much. We could both make a little profit, you know.
Mm-hmm.
One of them asked me how I wanted the check. Should make it out to me. I told him, oh, make it out to cash.
You remember how he signed it?
Jones. Quincy Jones. That's the name I knew him by. Other one called himself Wyatt Truesdale. I don't think that's their real name. Do you? Probably one of those, what did you call them?
Aliases.
Yes, sir, yeah, that's it. Well, anyway, I went over to my bank and drew out the $1,500. About 2:30, the fellow came back, the one who gave me the ring.
Yeah.
Said he tried to talk the real estate people into being satisfied with $1,500. Wouldn't come down. Insisted on the whole $3,000. I told him not to worry, that I had it. Give him my $1,500 and the check. He said the check would be okay, seeing as how it was on a local bank. He promised that he'd pay me back the next morning.
That'd be yesterday.
Yes, sir. And when he didn't show up, I wanted to make sure just how much it was worth, the ring.
Mm-hmm.
In case something had happened to it. In case he didn't come back for it. That's why I went to the pawn shop.
Mm-hmm.
Offered me $5 for it. The man in the pawn shop. Couldn't believe him at first. Said it was just glass, hunk of glass. Then a great light broke on me. How I'd been tricked. All of a sudden it come to me.
Well, why'd you stay out all night? Why didn't you go home?
Well, you see, sir, I couldn't face Sarah. I knew I'd been swindled. $1,500. Every cent that we'd saved. Been married 37 years. It was Sarah's money, too. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Not just because she's my wife. They helped earn it.
Well, we'll try and get it back for you, Mr. Hunt.
Not much to show for 37 years, is it? That's what I kept thinking while I was sitting in my car up there in the hills. All day long, just kept thinking. 37 years. $1,500. I'll have to tell her, won't I?
Well, sir, I think that's up to you.
She'll know it anyway. She'll know something's wrong.
Yes, sir.
Too late to start all over. We won't have them. There's another chance.
Have what, sir?
Another 37 years.
continued to interview the victim, Garfield Hunt, and he gave us descriptions of the three suspects. The stats office came up with 24 possibles. We showed the mug books to Hunt. He identified two of the photographs, Ernest Wilcoxon and Paul Cleaver. Hunt was positive that Wilcoxon and Cleaver were the men who had rented the store next to his and had pretended to be jewelers. He was unable to find a photograph of Norman Christ, the man who had sold him the ring. We pulled the packages on Wilcoxon and Cleaver. They had both done time for burglary. They had not previously worked with a third person. We called the Lassingwell Jewelry Company. They informed us that they were not opening a branch out in the valley. We checked with the owners of the building in which Hunt had his tailor shop. They told us the adjacent store had been rented on a weekly basis, and that the renters had said they intended to use the space for temporary storage. A local and an APB were sent out on all three suspects. 5:13 p.m. Using the information from their mama sheets, Frank and I began checking various places where Cleaver and Wilcoxon had been known to hang out. 7:12 p.m. We went into the Black Parrot Bar on South Broadway, and we talked to the bartender.
Not by them names, I don't know them.
Well, maybe these pictures will help.
How about it?
Yeah, they come in here once in a while.
Yeah, that's what we heard.
Always come in together?
As far as I know.
Ever bring somebody with them? Tall, thin fella, about 30, blonde hair?
No, just two of them. Never seen them with another guy.
I see.
What do you want for?
You know how we can turn them up?
We ain't here now.
We can wait.
Won't be in tonight.
How do you know?
They got money.
Well?
Big roll. The red-headed one was in yesterday. Quincy Jones. That's what he told me his name was.
Yeah.
Been running a tab. He paid it up in full. I had plenty left over.
Is that right?
As long as they're carrying a roll, they don't come to my place. Head for them expensive joints, like out on the strip, places like that. When they've blown their loot, they come back to me and start running up another tab. I called them on it, but what can you do? This is where I get some of their bundles.
Uh-huh. You know where they live?
Around here somewheres. I couldn't pin it down for you.
Who could?
How bad you want to find out?
What do you mean?
It'll cost you a drink.
You that thirsty?
Oh, not for me. Girl over there in the corner booth, the blonde.
Oh, yeah.
She knows him. Been out with him a couple of times. I've seen them leave together.
All right.
I was just kidding about that drink. It's on the house. For you guys and her, too.
No, we don't want anything.
And we'll pay for hers.
It's up to you.
Hi.
Good evening, miss.
You're new, aren't you?
Yes, ma'am.
This place could stand some new talent. Here, I'll move over.
Thanks. Thank you.
What's the matter with this side?
We're police officers.
How do you like that?
Ma'am?
Horoscope said I was going to meet somebody new today. You know, in the morning paper?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't say it'd be cops.
Oh, your yard plate.
Where'd that come from?
These guys.
You shouldn't call them guys, Jake. Fellow buys a lady a drink, that makes him a gentleman. From these gentlemen, that's what you should say.
Oh, sure.
To your very good health, gentlemen. Now then, what can I do for you? I'm at your service.
The bartender says these guys are friends of yours.
Oh, I wouldn't say those pictures do them justice, but there is a resemblance.
You know them, then?
We've met. We weren't formally introduced, but we've met. Meet a lot of people in here. Not the best people in town, maybe. It's not the best bar in town, but it's convenient. I work down the street.
Uh-huh. You know where these men live?
Huh? Oh, you mean these two so-called friends of mine?
Yeah.
Am I?
Well.
Did you ever hear of the North Cross Arms Hotel?
Yeah.
Well, I haven't been there with them, of course. I'm not sure that's their residence, but Quincy was carrying a hotel key, and one night it fell out of his pocket. I think that was the name on the tag, North Cross Arms.
All right. Thank you.
Well, thank you for the brandy.
Don't mention it. All right, what do we owe you?
6 bits. She drinks good stuff.
There you go. Keep the change.
Looks like I got one decent break.
That's so?
Them paying their tab today before you pick them up.
No, they didn't pay it.
Huh? Who did?
A man named Hunt. The clerk at the North Cross Arms Hotel told us that two men who resembled Wilcoxon and Cleaver were registered under the names of Jones and Truesdale. He said they'd gone out for the evening. He showed us up to their room, 36A. We asked him about the suspect known as Norman Christ. He told us he'd never seen anybody with Wilcoxon and Cleaver who answered Christ's description. 2:48 a.m. Wilcoxon and Cleaver returned to their room. We took them into custody and drove them down to the city hall for questioning.
How many times you want to hear
Until
it?
we get the truth.
Does Hunt say he gave us any money? He never gave us a cent, did he, Ernie?
No, we even paid his lunch tab a couple of times.
That's right. Always managed to out-fumble us. Owes us a couple of lunches.
He paid him back.
What?
$1,500 buys a lot of lunches.
What 15?
You got your share. You've been spending all over town.
Hunt say he gave it to us?
You still had over $600 when we picked you up. Now, where'd it come from?
Hollywood Park. Picked 3 long shots yesterday. You want the names of the horses?
Where's Chris?
Told you before, never heard of him. Who is he?
The guy you worked the game with.
Never heard of him.
You want to take this rap yourself?
What rap?
Why'd you rent that store out in the valley?
Store?
We showed him your mugshots, the man you rented it from. He made you. You want it in person? How about it?
Guess they got us there, Ernie. Yeah. We were going to open up a bookie joint.
Is that right?
Yeah, we changed our minds, looked the situation over, decided it might get a little warm out in the valley, and cleared out.
Bookie joint, huh?
That's right.
Not a jewelry store.
What are you talking about? Us? Jewelers? Ernie and me?
That's what you told Hunt.
Nothing of the kind. Laid it on the line. Told him we were bookies. Just between us, he was kind of pleased about it. Likes to play the horses himself. Liked the idea of being able to lay a bet so convenient.
You're a liar.
Now, look. Say, maybe that's what happened to his money. Maybe he lost it on a nag.
Come on, let's try it again. Now, why'd you rent the store?
You're going to get the same answers. Same questions, same answers. It's a waste of time.
We got plenty.
72 hours. That's all you got. You can hold us on suspicion for 72, then you can turn us loose unless you prove something.
We'll prove it.
How? We didn't take any money from Hunt. Nobody says we did, even him. If he was a mark for this, what's his name, Chris?
That's right.
How do you wrap us into the package? Hunt never saw us with him. Nobody saw us with him.
We'll find somebody.
72 hours, and you got to turn us loose. That's the law.
Is that right?
We know the law.
Why'd you break it? We continued to question the suspects, but we were unable to break them down. Thursday, May 19th, 7:45 a.m. Another team of detectives took over the interrogation. Frank and I went back to the office.
Think they'll cop out, Joe?
I don't know. It doesn't look like it, does it?
No, not unless we turn up Chris.
Did you call your wife?
Yeah, sure bawled me out. Kept dinner waiting till after 10. You're lucky.
Well, maybe.
Wonder if I'll get home tonight.
I got it. Bronco fugitive, Friday. Yeah, that's right. Sounds like him. How long ago? Uh-huh. Yeah.
Chris?
Fits the description. Smashed up a car on the Hollywood freeway. Georgia Street recognized him from our teletype.
You able to talk?
Died 10 minutes after they brought him in. At the morgue, the victim, Garfield Hunt, identified the body. He was positive it was Norman Christ, the man who had sold him the ring. Wilcoxon and Cleaver were also shown the body. They denied that they'd ever seen Christ before. The next day, Friday, May 20th, the evidence against Wilcoxon and Cleaver was taken to the district attorney's office. The complaint was refused. The evidence was deemed insufficient to bring the matter to trial at this time. Wilcoxon and Cleaver were released. 6:05 p.m. Frank and I got ready to sign out.
Well, that really tears it.
Sure does.
The DA's office knows they're guilty. We know it and can't do a thing.
Yep.
I guess we've been wasting our time, Joe, just fanning the ball.
Well, I'll tell you, we've spotted them, and they're going to stay spotted.
Yeah.
Next time they move in on a mark, we'll make it stick.
It wouldn't be very smart of them to try it twice.
They're not smart.
Huh?
They tried it once.
The story you have just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
2 months later, on July 12th, Wilcoxon and Cleaver were apprehended for a similar crime. They were charged with 1-count grand theft. On November 6th, trial was held in Department 98, Superior Court, State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. Ernest T. Wilcoxon and Paul Cleaver were found guilty of 1-count grand theft and were sentenced to a term prescribed by law. Grand theft is punishable by imprisonment in the county jail for a period of not less than 1 year, or for a period of from 1 to 10 years in the state penitentiary.
You have just heard Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action, and starring Jack Webb, a presentation of the United States Armed Forces Radio Service.
and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to robbery detail. You get a call that a well-dressed man has held up a diamond merchant. He's escaped into the crowded streets of your city. Your job? Get him.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, February 8th. It was cold in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Chief Detective Thad Brown. My name's Frank. I was on my way back from communications, and it was 12:10 p.m. when I got to room 27A. Robbery.
You get the wire off today, Hearn?
Yeah, I should have an answer this afternoon.
Doesn't come in, we better call him.
Yeah. You want to get something to eat?
Yeah, it's about that time. Where do you want to go?
No, how about the stakeout?
Good. I could use a couple of enchiladas.
Get your hat.
You want to tag the skipper before we leave?
No, he's not in. I saw him go out with Chief Brown. We can talk to him when we get back, huh?
Right.
Let's go. It's a hot one. I'll get it.
Sauce?
Yeah, diamond merchant just hit for a load of unset diamonds.
Big score?
He'll buy a group of enchiladas.
Huh?
$80,000 worth. Frank and I left the city hall and drove over to the address we'd gotten on the hotshot phone. It was a large office building on Hope Street. From the lobby register, we found that the victim, a Mr. George Mars, occupied suite 318. We checked with the uniformed officers who answered the call, and then we went upstairs to talk with Mars.
Well, I tell you, officer, there wasn't anything about him that'd make a person think he was a hold-up man.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing.
Do you want to tell us exactly what happened?
Well, sure. There's not much to talk about. I was sitting here looking at the papers, checking the sales.
What's that?
Dollar Day.
Oh,
I figured maybe I could get a good buy on some suits. I've been needing them. Figured maybe I could pick up a couple on sale. Not for $1, you know, but on sale.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Well, just sitting here reading the paper, and all of a sudden the door opens, and in comes this fellow.
Mm-hmm.
Nice looking. Sure, no reason to think there was anything wrong.
Yeah.
Told me he wanted to see some diamonds on set.
Mm-hmm. You say why you wanted to see him?
Yeah, something about opening a store up in the valley someplace around Sacramento.
Oh, yeah.
I felt kind of good. You know, to think a man had come all the way down here to look at the stones I've got.
You say why he did that?
No, I didn't ask. Lots of times that happens. Been in business quite a while. Word gets around.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, the man said he wanted to see some stones. I went back to the safe to get them.
Yeah.
Picked up several trays and brought them out here. When I took another look, he was sitting right there. There, holding a gun.
Mm-hmm.
Just as calm as can be, pointing the old gun right at me.
You say anything to you?
Told me to put the diamonds on the counter, not to make any noise. Said if I played it smart, I wouldn't get hurt.
Yeah.
I wish you could have seen this fellow. Just as calm as could be, he reached in his pocket, took out a pair of gloves, put them on, then he scooped all the diamonds into a little bag he was carrying and told me to get into the back room.
Yeah.
Made me lay down on the floor, and then he locked the door. Told me not to make any noise. Said to count to 100 by ones before I tried to yell.
Mm-hmm.
Well, after he locked the door, I heard him leave the office. I started counting.
All right, Mr. Mars, can you give us a description of the man?
Outside of the fact he had the gun, I can't tell you anything about him. I'm trying to pull a picture out of my head, but there just isn't anything.
Well, maybe we can help you.
Go ahead. I don't think it'll do any good.
All right, let's start with his age. How old was he?
I don't know. Medium, I guess.
30, 35? Older, younger?
I don't know.
How tall was he?
Oh, I guess you'd say he was... I don't know.
Well, when you looked at him, did he seem to be larger or smaller than yourself?
About the same.
Well, then he'd be about, 5'10", 11?
I guess so. I don't remember.
What about his face? Can you tell us anything about that?
Nope.
Do you have a mustache?
Might have.
But you aren't sure?
No.
Wear glasses?
I don't remember.
Well, now, think real carefully. Is there anything at all that you can remember about him?
Yeah, but it's kind of silly.
Well, what is it?
When I came back with the diamonds and he was holding the gun, I noticed his hands.
Yeah?
His fingernails were manicured.
Yeah?
Yeah, real clean and with some kind of polish on them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think so.
Like that?
Mm-hmm.
I'll check with the fellows outside, Joe. Maybe they came up with something.
Okay.
Mr. Smith?
Yes, sir?
I'm sure sorry about this not being able to help more.
Well, don't worry about it, Mr. Mars.
I'm sure sorry.
I'll be right back, Joe.
All right.
You have a cigarette, Mr. Friday?
Yeah. Here you go.
Thanks.
Here's a light.
I got it. This kind of thing happen to you often?
How do you mean?
Oh, where somebody's robbed and can't remember what the hold-up man looked like?
Once in a while.
Well, what do you do about it?
Try to find another way.
You usually find one?
Most of the time.
John?
Yeah.
See you, man?
Yeah. What do you got?
Well, I checked with the men in the radio unit.
Yeah.
They got a guy downstairs. We better talk to him.
Suspect?
No, eyewitness.
Frank and I went down to the lobby of the building, and we met with the uniformed officers who'd answered the call. They introduced us to Stanley Markin. Markin said he'd seen the hold-up man.
And I did. Saw him plain as anything.
When was that, sir?
Yeah? Wasn't right after he held up old Mars.
Where'd you see him?
Hall, right outside the office, right in front of the door, practically.
Mm-hmm.
On the way to my place, and this man come out of Mars. Roaring.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So he opened the door, and bam, right into me, like to knock me down. Really roaring.
Mm-hmm.
Had this little black leash, you know, about this big.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Had a death grip on it.
Well, did you get a good look at the man?
Closer than I am to you, one right into me. Thought sure I was going to end up on the floor. Yeah.
Can you give us a description?
Sure. What do you want to know?
What do you look like?
Nothing special, just a run-of-the-mill crook. Seen one, seen them all.
Okay. How old was he?
Oh, guess about 28, maybe 30, around in there.
How tall?
Like you.
Maybe about 6 feet.
Well, that's what you are?
Yes, sir, pretty close.
Yeah.
How was he built?
Medium. Didn't seem to have a lot of beef, just average.
Uh-huh. How was he dressed?
Had a gray suit on, dark gray, little red pattern going through it.
Single or double-breasted?
Single.
Uh-huh. What color shirt?
White, blue tie. One of them new ones, you know, little thin kind, you know, little bitty knot. Had one of them bar things through the collar, holes in, you know.
Uh-huh.
Square ends.
What's that?
On the bar. Square ends, not round like most of them. Square,
I see. Was he wearing a hat?
Yeah. Blue Humber, dark. Had it kind down over one eye. Looked real rakish, like a spy.
Mm-hmm. Was he clean-shaven?
Yeah. How do you mean?
Did he have a mustache?
No, didn't.
Was he wearing glasses?
Not that I saw. Might have had them, but he wasn't wearing them.
Did he say anything to you?
Not a peep. He just wham, and then he took off. Made me real mad. Guy almost knocks you down, then doesn't even say he's sorry.
Uh-huh.
He took off, and when I thought about it, I went after him.
Did you see if he was carrying a gun?
I just told you I went after him.
Yes, sir.
I'm not a coward, but I ain't no fool either. I'd have seen a gun, I wouldn't have gone near him.
Yes, sir.
Guy didn't even wait for the elevators. Just run off the stairs. Fire exit, you know.
Yeah.
Down 3 stories. All the way by stairs. Till it almost got me, but I was so sore about being run into, and then no apology, just nothing. I went after him.
Yes.
We got to the lobby, and he went out on the street. Thought I had him sure there. Place was all crowded. The dollar day, you know.
Yeah, we know.
Didn't think he'd be able to run far with all them people.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't.
What's that?
He didn't run very far. Only to the curb, and he jumped in a taxi.
Yeah.
Cab took off. I tried to get there before it left, but didn't make it. Too many crowds.
Mm-hmm.
I got the number of the cab he took, got it written down in my office.
Can we go up and get it?
Sure. Scientifics come out yet?
What's that?
Scientifics, you know. Fingerprints and all. They come yet?
No, not yet.
Well, they get here, and it'll be toodaloo to him. Them guys and their machine, just a matter of dropping a few cards in some gadget, and ping, there's the name.
Yes, sir. Well, it'll be a little more than that.
Yeah, that's what you think. Soon as the scientifics get here, have them come and see me, first thing.
You bet.
Give him something to really work on.
What do you mean?
Yeah, good start on who the fella is.
What's that?
When he bumped into me upstairs, he dropped his hat, flew right off his head. Guy didn't stop to pick it up. I got it. It's a good one.
Uh-huh.
Got his name in it.
12:32 p.m. The crew from the crime lab arrived and started their investigation of the office where the robbery had taken place. Frank and I got the description of the thief out, and then we started to check on the cab number. The suspect's hat was turned over to the crime lab. When Frank and I looked at it, we found the initials TR on the inner band and the name of a men's store in Las Vegas, Nevada. Lieutenant Lee Jones said they'd run a check on it for us. The stats office started a run on the M.O. and the description. Both the victim and Stanley Markin were taken to the city hall to look through the mug books for a possible identification. At 1:26 p.m., we obtained the name of the cab driver who picked up the suspect. The company told us that his regular stand was at the corner of 6th and Broadway. When we got there, the driver was out on a call. We waited until 2:14 p.m. when he returned.
Yeah, I remember him. Picked him up in front of the Jerks building.
That's right. Now, can you tell us where you took him?
Not right off. It should be on the way, Bill, though.
Would you check for it?
Sure, just a minute. I'll get it.
A nice break if he's got it.
Yeah. Yeah, here it is. I picked him up at 12:06 and dropped him at the Toddle Inn bar over on Fig.
Did he go in the place?
Yeah, I was making out the log. I saw him.
Did he say anything to you on the way over?
No, nothing special. Seemed kind of nervous, kept looking back. I figured there was something wrong, but you get so many crackpots in this business, you can't take time to worry about all of them.
Mm-hmm.
So what'd he do?
Feel a little better if we talk to him about that.
Yeah, sure. Oh, one thing he said might help you out.
What's that?
Well, he wanted to know where he could get an airline schedule.
Yeah.
Said he was anxious to get out of town.
The cab driver verified the description of the suspect. We put in a call to the airport detail and gave them the suspect's description. The bus depots and railroad terminals were also alerted. 2:47 p.m. We drove over to the Toddle Inn bar.
Hi. What'll it be?
Police officers. Want to ask you a couple questions?
Nothing wrong, is there?
I'd like you to tell us.
Well, look around. You won't find nothing out of line. It's a clean place.
Mm-hmm. Who's been in here this morning?
Huh? How many people have been here? Well, just a couple. It's kind of slow. Why?
We're looking for a man about 28 or 30, 6 feet tall, medium build, wearing a dark gray suit. The way we got it, he was in here about 12:15, 12:30.
Today?
That's right.
What's he done?
Was he here?
I don't want any trouble.
You're saying it the wrong way. Now, was the man in here?
Yeah.
Who is he?
I don't know. You want us to buy that? It's the way it is. If you don't like the color, shove out.
No, you don't mean that, do you?
Look, cop, the door was open when you came in, no lock. Same way when he was here. Came in, had a drink, that's it. You try to build any more, you're going to find out you lost the paddle.
Get your coat.
Huh?
You heard me. Move.
What are you going to do, take me downtown?
That's it.
Gotta get somebody to watch your place.
We'll wait.
Look, it doesn't seem very fair.
How do you mean that?
I didn't have part of the action.
Well, why don't you tell us?
The guy came in, he ordered bourbon and milk. He sat there and drank it. Had a couple more and left. Doesn't mean anything to me.
And why you stand in front of him?
I don't know. The place is clean. I like to keep it that way.
Who is he?
Look, I tell you true, I can't pull up a name.
Well, now, suppose you try.
Tom something.
Is he in here often?
A couple times a week.
What's the attraction?
Look, why don't you tell me what it's all about? Maybe we can make a deal.
We don't need you on our side.
Why does he come in?
To see Alex.
Who's she?
Waitress.
What's her last name?
Colbar.
She go with this fella?
I don't know if it's serious. They've been out a couple of times, dinner and a show.
Where do we find her?
I guess she's home. She don't come to work till 4:30.
You got her address?
It's in the book.
Get it.
No other way?
Get it.
Okay.
Does Tom make a phone call while he was here?
No.
What do you have to say to you?
He told me just wound up a deal. He did pretty good on it. Said he was going home.
You live in town?
Not regular. He's from, I don't know, Nevada, I think.
You say where?
Well, he mentioned some small town, a Boulder City, I think. It's not a street or anything there.
You want to get the girl's address?
Yeah. I hope you understand about before.
What do you mean?
Why I wouldn't go with you from the front.
Tell us.
Well, it's Alice.
Yeah.
She'd be in real trouble if it got out she was seeing Tom.
Why?
I don't think her husband would go for it.
We called the name and description of the waitress into R&I, but we found there was no record on her. Frank and I left the bar and went over to her home. It was a run-down apartment building on Court Street. We checked with the manager, and she told us that the girl's husband left about 9:30 that morning. She went on to say that Alice Colbar seldom left the place before 3:30, and that as far as she knew, she was still at home. Frank and I went up to talk to her.
Probably asleep, huh?
Mm-hmm. Miss Colbar.
The door open?
You got your flashlight?
Yeah, here.
Miss Colbar? Throw the light over there, Frank, in the corner near the bed.
I'll call an ambulance.
Yeah. Tell them to step on her.
How's she look?
Like she's dead. From the appearance of the room, there'd been a fight. Furniture was overturned, lamps were broken, several bottles had apparently been smashed against the walls. The body of Alice Colbar was lying on the floor near the bed. Her face was buried in the pillows if she'd used it to ward off additional blows from her attacker. An ambulance crew arrived, and she was removed to Georgia Street Receiving Hospital for treatment. A thorough search of the room failed to turn up anything to lead to the identity of the person who'd beaten her. We talked to the landlady again, and we found that Irvin Colbar, the victim's husband, was employed at a golf driving range out in the valley. We checked the name and description through the record section, and we found that he had one arrest for drunk driving. He'd been fined and placed on probation. 4:26 p.m. Frank and I drove out to talk to him.
I knew you'd be here.
Is that right?
How's that?
Pretty rough.
I don't know. Just all of a sudden it was a beef, and I hit her.
With what?
My hands.
What started the argument?
Tom.
Who's he?
Friend of Alice's.
You know his last name?
No, I never even met him.
All right, tell us about it, will you?
What you don't know already, everybody else does.
Go ahead.
Been going together for a couple of months. Alice works at a bar. Tom came in all the time. I guess it got pretty serious.
Yeah.
I went by the place last night going to pick her up after work. She was gone. Bartender there told me she'd left with this fellow, Tom. I got pretty sore. You can figure what it's like finding your wife running around with another man.
Yeah.
I had a couple of drinks. Trying to think what to do. Right then, I wanted to kill both of them. A couple of guys in the bar tried to calm me down. I guess I got pretty loaded. One of them took me to his place. I spent the night there.
Mm-hmm.
Woke up this morning, went home. Now, you got to believe me, I wasn't real sore anymore. Mad, yeah, but not so as I was going to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Alice was asleep when I got there. I woke her up, told her I knew all about her and Tom.
Yeah.
Kind of thought she'd be sorry, say she was wrong, something like that.
Uh-huh.
She wasn't. Told me how her and Tom were in love and that she wanted a divorce so they could get married. Tried to talk to her, tell her how I loved her. Didn't do any good. She said we were all through, for me to pack my things and get out. I guess that's when I hit her. I don't know. All of a sudden, I wanted to smash her. That's all there is.
You ever met this Tom?
No.
How about the other guys in the bar? They know him?
To talk to. I think that's about it.
Any idea where he lived?
No. Tried to find out last night. None of the people around the place know. If I found out, I'd kill him.
All right, you better get your coat.
Yeah. What are they going to do to me?
That's not up to us.
I didn't kill her, though, huh?
She's still in critical condition.
Guess it doesn't make a difference anyway. We only been married a couple of years. Won't be much without her. Never figured it'd end up like this.
Mm-hmm.
I really loved her. Done anything in the world to make her happy. How do you answer it?
What's that?
Why she did it.
I wouldn't know.
I asked her. She wouldn't tell me. Just said it was over. She wouldn't give me one reason.
All right, come on, let's go.
Can I see her?
We'll check on it.
I want to ask her, find out why. Maybe she'll tell me now.
Yeah, if she can hear you. Irvin Colbar was taken to the main jail and booked in on charges of suspicion of violation of Section 245 PC, assault with a deadly weapon. We put in a call to Georgia Street Receiving Hospital, and we found that the Colbar woman had been removed to the county hospital. She was still unconscious. We made arrangements to be called in the event she was able to be questioned. 6:45 p.m. We talked to Lieutenant Lee Jones. He told us that the lab had been unable to come up with any useful information at the scene of the crime. He said that they'd identified the manufacturer of the hat that the suspect had worn, and they gave us their local address. He went on to say, however, that hairs found in the lining of the hat would act as corroborative evidence if the suspect were apprehended. We put in a call to the hat company, but we found that their offices were closed. We contacted the Las Vegas Police Department and asked them to check on the store who'd sold the garment. We gave them a complete description of the suspect and the initials TR with the possible first name of Tom. They said they'd call back the next morning with whatever information they could obtain. Wednesday, February 9th, we got word from County Hospital that Mrs. Alice Colbar had died in her sleep without regaining consciousness. The case was turned over to homicide officers for completion. Additional teams of men were sent out to the bar where she was employed in an effort to find some trace of the missing suspect. 11:15 a.m.
Robert Smith. Yeah. Yeah, I'm the one to talk to you. Mm-hmm. Yeah, what'd they say? Yeah. How many? Uh-huh. It looks pretty good, huh? What about a record? Yeah. Okay. 1864? 54? Right. Yeah, I got it. Yeah. We'll let you know. Thanks for the help. Bye. Las Vegas.
What do you got?
Well, I checked with the clothing store where the hat was bought.
Mm-hmm.
It's a new model, only been out a couple of months.
Remember the guy who bought it?
Yeah. Description didn't mean anything, but the initials did. Clerk said the hat was bought by Thomas Rourke.
Vegas got anything on him?
Yeah, a couple of arrests for robbery.
Do any big time?
No, the cases wouldn't hold.
They know where he is?
They got an idea.
Yeah.
He's supposed to live out in Covina.
Frank and I checked the name Thomas Rourke through R&I, and we found one assault arrest on a man answering his description. The mug shots were pulled and shown to the robbery victim and the witness. Both of them gave us positive identifications. We contacted the Covina Police Department and told them what had happened. They assured us a complete cooperation. Along with Officers J.J. O'Donnell and Sergeant Jim Austin, Frank and I left the office to take the suspect into custody. We met with officers from the Covina PD, and we drove to 1854 Eldred Avenue. It was a small redwood house set well back on the lot. In the driveway was a late-model Plymouth coupe. From the street, there was no sign of life. The shades were drawn, and the front porch was covered with advertising newspapers. While O'Donnell and Austin covered the rear of the house, Frank and I went up to the front door. set.
Yeah. No one here.
All right, take that sucker.
Right. Nothing out back. How you doing?
Wait a minute. Closet.
I give up, don't you?
Go on out there.
Yes, sir. I'll do like you say. No trouble, sir, please. No trouble.
Keep those hands where I can see them.
Yes, sir. Just like you said.
Now, turn around. Hands on the wall. Quick.
Yes, sir.
Come on, move.
You won't find anything. Haven't done anything wrong. You got the wrong man.
Yeah, sure.
I'm telling you the truth, sir. I wouldn't lie.
All right, come on, let's go.
Yes, sir. I get a coat.
Point it out.
In the closet. Great.
I'll get it.
What's this all about, sir?
You don't need a picture.
I'm afraid I do. I don't know why you're doing this.
That's your car in the driveway?
Yes, sir.
You live here alone?
No, sir. This is my sister's house.
Where's she?
Working, sir.
Here, stick it on.
Let's go. Can I get a hat?
Don't bother.
Huh?
We got one that'll fit you. The suspect was taken to the city hall and questioned. For an hour, he maintained that he didn't know anything about the diamond robbery. While Frank and I were talking to him, the other officers were making a thorough search of his sister's house and her grounds. 3:15 p.m., we got word that the diamonds had been found in the backyard of the place. When he was confronted with this information, the suspect made a full confession. 6:08 p.m., he'd just finished giving us a statement. All right. This is a true statement, is it?
Yes, sir.
You make it without promises of reward or immunity. There's been no force exerted on you. You give this statement of your own free will, right?
Yeah.
All right. Here. Here's a pen. Sign all copies.
Too bad about Alice.
Yeah.
Nice kid. Got too serious, though.
Is that so?
Yep. Yeah, I talked all the time about how she was going to leave her husband, how we were going to get married.
Sign all copies, fellow. You missed one here. Get this one here.
She knew I was going back to Nevada. Wanted me to take her.
Mm-hmm.
Silly.
Yeah.
Nothing between us. A little flirtation. You know, something to kill time. She didn't mean anything to me. Nothing at all.
Want to give me that pen?
Yeah. I wouldn't have married her on a bet. I'll tell you that for true.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't mean a thing to me. You ought to believe it.
Look, fella, you don't have to convince us.
Huh?
We'll let you talk to her husband.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you have just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On June 9th, trial was held in Department 98, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. Thomas Emery Rourke was tried and convicted of robbery in the first degree and received sentence as prescribed by law. Robbery in the first degree is punishable by imprisonment in the state penitentiary for a period of not less than 5 years. Urban Franklin Colbar was tried and convicted of murder in the second degree and was sentenced to the state penitentiary for a period of from 5 years to life.
You have just heard Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action, and starring Jack Webb, a presentation of the United States Armed Forces Radio Service.